10 seconds. Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2, 1. Mark.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
Welcome to Sin City's top rated podcast in Nevada. The number one red pill podcast on planet friggin' Earth. Can't say the other word yet. We're going to tell you why looks don't really matter today. Or do they? No, actually, today's show is not even about looks. It's about free selection, which is what I wanted to talk about last week. Get to this week. So, but before we do, I've got to show you something very disturbing. So, Kyle, would you be so kind?
Why has there never been a woman president?
Most people vote boys
Why?
because they think boys are stronger than girls. Boys can be a better president than girls. But America's never had a girl president. Men don't want that to change to keep their hierarchy in mind. They want to be stronger always, and they don't want to change that.
You know what that's called? Hierarchy?
No.
The patriarchy. Since the beginning of time, all the leaders of the world, majority are who?
Men.
Okay. Who has started every single war?
Men.
Yeah, not really.
You know, I'm just gonna go hide and like.
I'm going to go hide because I'm embarrassed to be a boy.
You know the deal by now, and if you don't, you will by the end of this video. They want to feminize men, and the reason they want to feminize men is feminize a word. They want to make men feminine because when you have a feminine man, the testosterone is low. They're probably not going to be able to reproduce very easily. As a lot of the issues we have with infertility come from the male, or jabs and other things like that. When a society has weak men, that's usually the beginning of a collapsing society. Next, they want to do the opposite for women. They want to make them more manly, more masculine. Because if you have a woman that's pretty much just career driven and is focusing on making money and not on marriage and building a family and holding a motherly role and position, well, these women are usually waiting until they're in their mid-30s to get married, if not to conceive, and by that time your chances are like 50%. Obviously the propaganda is women are being locked in the kitchen to make sandwiches and sourdough for their families. Apparently that's evil. I'm not so sure we should be thanking the feminists. I think we should be thanking the juice boxes who were behind the idea of feminism to begin with. They pushed the idea of women going into the workforce and leaving the home so that they could tax women, obviously, so that now the school system, the indoctrination system, now owns your child. The government now owns your child. The government's teaching your child, not the parents, not the mother. Root to feminism was not the woman, was not your grandmother. She gave in to the propaganda. Next, with feminism,
Yeah, not quite. That's not what we saw in the previous video, right?
also comes like my body, my choice, my reproductive rights. We consider unaliving innocent children, being them out of a mother's womb, and we consider that healthcare. When actually behind your child is thousands and thousands of dollars. Placenta of women, when they give it up, is tens of thousands of dollars, and if you're an African American woman, it's around $50,000 to $60,000. Children, their organs are being used. It's very sick. It's a very sick society we live in. Nonetheless, feminists, I guess you never actually look into the history of how this stuff actually became. And your reproductive rights and your reproductive health care, actually, it's a very dark history. It's not empowering, actually, if you look back to the fact that it was built on racism.
Apparently, there's a new study that says Gen Z boys do not believe in gender equality. And when you look at these numbers, it's honestly kind of insane. The boys that were surveyed were in 8th and 10th grade, and they were asked questions like a woman should have the same job opportunities as a man. In 2018, 84% of them agreed, but in 2023, 72% agreed. And if you look at the agreed completely numbers, it's even worse. Look at this question. Men and women should be paid the same money if they do the same work. In 2018, 72% of these boys agreed with this completely. In 2023, 57%. That's crazy. And you might think, oh, these are just lonely boys that are stuck on the internet. The numbers are even worse for boys that hang out with their friends versus boys that don't hang out with their friends. And the same trend occurs amongst boys that date girls versus boys that don't date girls, which is almost counterintuitive to what you would initially think. But basically, the boys that are dating girls are actually more against gender equality than the boys that aren't dating girls. I can't say I'm surprised by this study considering how our society currently looks, but the drop-off in the numbers are still pretty insane. How dare you?
I think right now there's just such a lack of transparency, especially when it comes to the dating world. Like, there's people I know that are dating people who are just, they don't realize that this person's a con artist, or they're lying to them, or they're keeping their options open. Like, they want to know why the guy they're with isn't posting them on social media. Right. And we talk about this all the time. Like, if you're not posting your significant other or your situationship or whoever you're seeing on social media, you're not serious. You're keeping your options open.
And who does that the most? Like, I'm sorry, what sex, what gender does that the most? It's not guys. Trust me, they would love to. In fact, women will get pissed off if you start posting that you're a couple. They will lose market share if you do that.
That favors a high education more than the other. Historically, women tend to like men who are, at least as educated, if not more so, to themselves. There was a study years ago on Tinder, back when people still used Tinder. I don't know if people still do, but the finding was that if you took
Yes, Rob, people still use fucking Tinder.
The same man, the same two profiles of the same male, same photograph, same everything. But the only difference was that, one man had a university degree and the other man didn't. That the one with the degree got twice as many likes as the one without one.
I would like to see the freaking data on this. I want to see the stats on this because I'm not sure that this is actually the way things are here. Because if it's Tinder, chicks is they don't care if you're like an axe murderer. They don't care if you didn't shower the whole preceding week. If you're good looking enough, if you're really, really ridiculously good looking. That's all that matters.
About the degree. And then for women, I think men were 10% more likely to like the female profile with the higher level of education than the lower. So there was a slight male preference, but the difference was much stronger for women. And
I got news for you, Rob. Women and men are not going on Tinder to find their next marriage partner. Trust me.
And so I think this is another reason why some people go off to college. It's to make yourself a more attractive and desirable partner.
So that's why we go to college. Yeah. You might be right. That actually might be the case. Because what else would you be fucking going to college for? One of the things that gets me is as for a guy that is as educated. I mean, the guy's I think he has a doctorate. I'm pretty sure he's got a doctorate. No, he's certainly got a master's. I know he's got a master's from Harvard. I know that. And the guy has a very great come up story, but I've never met a dude and maybe this is intentionally so because he didn't used to be like this, but I've never met a dude that is more out of touch with just the global social order than Rob Henderson.
Name of the podcast is the $1 million question that we're facing for sure. I think it's underpinned by a transformation in the economic relationship between women and men. The economic rise of women is, I think, the biggest economic liberation in human history. And it has completely transformed the economic basis for family life and relationships between men and women. So if you take the model of the family, which was about the breadwinning male and the homemaking and child-caring female, and basically just abolish it, arguably, it has huge cultural implications because what does it mean for the role of men? If until literally yesterday, culturally speaking, we had a very clear role for men as provider, protector, breadwinner, right? Head of household, right? Very, very clear role. And we've just completely transformed that. And to come back to you, type people, what does that mean about the meaning of men? And it has to mean something different in 2025 than it meant in 1975. But it is unbelievably naive to think that that is just going to happen peacefully and easily all by itself. That you.
Oh, I'll tell you what's naive. What's naive is believing that you're going to solve, and this is on him, you're going to solve 21st century gender issue problems, whatever, inequalities, all any of this great bullshit that you've been talking about for God knows how long now, with 20th century solutions.
And just literally abolish the traditional male role, essentially overnight, not replace it, and then step back and say, yay, go us, right? It's your name. It's like, what does it mean to be a man in a world of gender equality?
This is how much I make in a week as a Miami stripper. Today is Tuesday. I never work Tuesdays, but this is the start of my work week, and I made $1,650. Okay, so I'm leaving work. Tonight is Wednesday, and I made $3,830. Woohoo! It's definitely a good night. Okay, so it's Thursday now, but I worked last night, Wednesday, and I made $3,274. Definitely a really good night. Okay, so last night was Thursday. I worked from 10:30 p.m. until 6 a.m. and I was there counting money until like 9 a.m. and I made $3,745. Definitely a good night. It was a long night though, and I'm starting to get sick. Okay, so this is from Saturday. I made $2,270. It was slower Saturday than I'm used to, but I felt like shit. My throat started hurting, so I went home early. Okay, so it's Monday. It is the last day of my work week. I did not work Sunday night. I was trying to work all 7 days in a row for this video, but my throat started killing me Saturday late night at work, so I ended up leaving early. Took Sunday off for my own physical health. Feeling a lot better tonight. Tonight is the last night of my work week. I worked Monday and I made $1,018. Definitely not as good of a night as my usual Mondays, but I'm very happy I made something. It was a slow night in the club, and yeah, I'll never say no to $1,000. So. Okay, so out of the past 7 days, I worked 6 nights. And my grand total for 6 nights of work at my club was $15,787. I'm super happy with that amount of money. Obviously, that's a crazy amount of money to make in a week. It is certainly not my best week, but it is certainly not my worst week either. And $15,000, I used to make that in like many 4, 5, 6 months of work. So the fact that I made that in 1 week is literally crazy. And yeah, obviously I put money aside for taxes too. I have a whole video on that if you're interested. Thanks for watching.
All right, Tradcons. Tell me how.
Girls fall down.
5 to 10% of women in America aged 18 to 24 are on OnlyFans. How does years of women empowerment end in like the mass commodification of women?
It's presented as empowerment.
As entrepreneurial.
The desire.
That chick was a stripper in Miami and made, well, close to $16,000 in 1 week. OnlyFans, depending on what your level of involvement is, could be even more lucrative than that, depending on what you do. And I'm not saying every chick makes that kind of money, but like what I was going to say before I even launched into this, and by the way, this is BJ Jonathan. I've got another video of his that we're going to talk about later on. But the thing is like when we're talking about economics, and we're talking like when I'm listening to like Richard Reeves talk about, oh yeah, we flipped the script and all this other stuff. We flipped it so far in one way that there's like, it is fundamentally like changed the landscape of the global sexual marketplace, and certainly the local sexual marketplace too. So it's not just OnlyFans. It could be stripping. It could be any kind of democratization, but like commodification of sexuality is going to put, a certain caliber of women in it doesn't even have to be that, in an economic bracket that men of their same like peer group are never going to be able to compete with unless they are like at the elite level.
To be attractive is a natural and wholesome desire, but is susceptible of a corruption. What is it that attracts enough contemporary women to want to be seen?
I don't know, maybe $16,000 a week might be something.
Read that as a desire for recognition. I thought it was more like monetary.
It's true, money's always relevant.
$16,000 in 1 week in Miami. And that chick wasn't even that hot. She was like, I mean, she was okay, because I've seen the chicks at Booby Trap and 11 and the rest of those places down there. She all right. She all right. But she's not top tier.
But I don't think that could drive the phenomenon. There are plenty of women who put pornographic videos of themselves online before there was a way to monetize it.
What?
Yeah, they were called like hot wives. This was a great one.
Your pastor. Yes, I'm suing him because he divulged what I told him in confidence, which was that I was unfaithful to my husband. And so he said, you have a month, tell your husband. Then one day they met at the gym and Pastor Hall just says that I was unfaithful, and then my husband comes home in a fury, and that was it.
But Pastor Hall, did you tell Mr. McDonald, hey, by the way, your wife cheated on you?
No, I hadn't seen them in church in a little bit. And I briefly mentioned, it's great to see people go through so much adversity, when it comes to different things like sickness, things like bankruptcy, things like adultery, all kinds of types of, situations and things, periods that couples can go through.
Now, I believe confessing to your pastor is not necessarily like a legally binding thing. So I think that the pastor had every right to kind of expose her, and he did give her a chance.
She's not a Christian!
All right, last one. Pay attention. Pay attention, children.
Guys, be honest with me. Do you think I look like a man? How about now? Do you guys think I look like a man now? Or do I just look like a woman? A strong woman? Because tell me, if muscles make a woman manly, what would you call a man without muscles? And be honest, is there any insult perceived worse than a man being called womanly? Is it because femininity is perceived as weakness? But why? Why is femininity still perceived as weakness? The answer is, the patriarchy didn't just come for women. The patriarchy also affects men negatively. And listen, I've been on both sides. I lost 40 pounds. And when I was at my heaviest, the only thing people could talk about was how undesirable I looked. It didn't matter that I had just lost a child in pregnancy. It didn't matter to anyone. What they cared the most about was how bangable I looked, because clearly that's all I'm worth. But now that I finally made it out of all the self-doubt and the depression that ravaged me, I understand that the problem was never me. The problem was society. I am a woman, so that means whatever I choose to do with my body, however I choose to look, is feminine. My arms aren't big to intimidate you. But Mia, you don't have enough body fat in your stomach to carry a child. I don't know how to tell you this, but even when I did have body fat, I couldn't. So my life is not an audition to be someone's wife, to be someone's property, just to be the sexual organ of humanity. I'm smart, I'm outspoken, and I'm strong, both physically and mentally. Nothing sticks it to the patriarchy more than choosing happiness and living in your own truth, the way you want to live in it. It's 2025. Why are we still opining on women's bodies? Why do you think that your opinion means more than my health and my happiness? The problem is you, not me.
The problem is me. That was too good. Bitch, you are in nowhere near as good enough shape to have that kind of attitude. I mean, she's all right, but come on. Oh, man, there is not enough Anavar in the universe to get that chick. We whip that bitch into line. I keep seeing, okay, I'm going to get to these just immediately right now. Look up Filipinos karaoke. That's not how you spell karaoke. Or is it in the Philippines? I don't know. No excuse. You can do it. My short kings. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you brought that up. We're going to talk about short kings today too. Jake. Jake Cope, my drummer. Yes. Okay. Did you have Marriage in easy mode, being a Chad. Believe it or not, I've not always been a Chad. In fact, when I got married, there was no such thing as a Chad. Back in the foggy days of the 90s and the early to mid 90s, we didn't know what a Chad was. We would tie an onion around our belts and hope the girls would show up. Oh God. Did you have it on easy mode? And I wouldn't. Would you want it on? Do you want it on easy mode? Is being a Chad the only way to get genuine desire? It's the fast track. It's not the only way. Being a Chad. What does being a Chad constitute? Is it just looks, or is it like attitude, or is it like it does? Like
lifestyle.
What's funny to me is, and I'm going to get into this today because this is part of today's topic. By the way, today's topic is not just about looks. It's also about congruency. It's also about social proof. It's also about pre-selection. This is the pre-selection show I wanted to do last week, but you all insisted that I do Sadia Khan. And sure as shit, everybody in the goddamn comments were like, "How come brother only gossips? Gossip. Because you asked me to. You asked me to, and I answered the call. Don't give me grief about doing what you wanted me, doing the show that you wanted me to do. All right, what's this? What is your greatest seminal discovery? Alpha lays, beta pays. I believe you mean alpha fucks, beta bucks. It's okay. You can actually use profanity on my show. That's only on Access Vegas. This show we talk the real shit here. Women depreciate. I don't think that's a great revelation, to be honest with you. Not your girl, just your turn. Men are disposable. I think we've already known that one for quite some time. Sisterhood of Borealis? Maybe. Gynocentric social order? That's been growing since the mid-'60s. Scarcity mindset? See, you know what's funny is like a lot of the stuff, marriage causes divorce. Thank you. Thank you for all three of those last super chats. That's funny. The thing is, and you are right. It easy? Do you have life on easy mode? There's no such thing as fucking easy mode. Okay. Like I know a lot of people want to say, well, he won the genetic lottery, and so therefore he's got life on easy mode. Do you want it on easy mode? Like if you could have, here's the thing. If you could play a video game, right? And I go, hey, I got the cheat codes here. You can play it in God mode. You'll never die. Yeah. You'll never take any hit points loss. You'll never, you'll get you'll get loot. Everybody has maximum loot.
You get bored.
And would you play the fucking game? No, you wouldn't play the fucking game. You would be bored of it. You'd be like,
too easy.
It's too easy. I beat that. I killed the final boss, and it was not even hard. I didn't even lose a hit point. I didn't even my little bar didn't even go down one notch. I don't understand. You'll be bored off your ass. There's no such thing as fucking easy. Dude, don't wish it was fucking easier. Wish you were better. That's the whole thing. It's all about growth. Okay. And people just say, well, I'm 6'4" and I'm 400 pounds and I'm ugly and my face is whacked. And dude, are you playing it on hard? Would you rather play it on hard mode? What is it? What's the levels? There's like easy mode. There's like normal. There's hard mode, and then there's like, oh my god, this is fucking extreme, insane. Yeah, because I know when I play Space Marine 2, I play on normal mode, but like I'm not brave enough to go hard. You know, when you go hard mode is when you do PvP. Then you're in the real fucking school. That's insanity mode by default. Okay, so your ass is gonna be fucking pounded into like a red mist, and I mean that literally. You will turn into a red mist. Veteran and then hardcore mode or insanity. This is insane mode, something like that. Oh God, I cannot wait. God, and Mike is 100% right about this. When Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, all of you, like, you will not hear from anyone for the next 3 to 6 months. All the people, you go, I wonder what happened to that. What happened to Ro? What happened to Mike?
I guess you start streaming it.
Yes, he's it's funny. He's already. This is the way Mike's brain works, right? Mike's like, I know Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out it's 2026, right? I believe sometime in 2026, right? He goes, when it comes out, he's like, I want to make sure that all the people that are in MO, all those guys in MOA are also playing it so they can be in like the same, like they can all get all into the same group so you can actually talk to them while he's playing the game. Like, that's the level of commitment that he has to that shit. Yeah. Yeah. Vice City returns. Yeah. Oh, by the way, yes, I will be picking up Chaos Dwarf. Thank you very much.
So it's supposed to come out May 26, 2026.
Yeah, I believe that when I see it. May 26?
May 26.
So right on Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah. Right on time.
So you're like, wow, he must be on vacation. No, he's at home playing Grand Theft GTA. Grinding. Yeah, he's back home playing GTA 6. Mike also plays Madden every year. Yep. It's Madden. Now he's got me hooked on Madden, so I'm going to play Madden with him this week. We always play as soon as like the football season starts, so that's when we get into it. And I was surprised. I guess there's no home game at Allegiant this. It must be next week. I think it's every other week.
I'll find out.
I got to make sure because I take the freeway here.
Yeah.
Nope, not on Sunday football. That's for damn sure. Yeah. So anyways, today we're going to be talking about we're going to get into nuts and bolts topics today. I know, against my better judgment. I also kind of wanted to get in. I've got a couple of videos I wanted to respond to. In particular, one is like, I know that, was it Rachel Wilson? Andrew Wilson's always about this, but like Rachel Wilson has been getting into sort of like this religious side of things, especially with Allie Beth Stuckey. And I think it's kind of funny because Allie Beth Stuckey is the chick that Turd Flinging Monkey was reacting to back in 2016, I think, with that video that I use all the time where we talk about, which is where he, not me, coined the phrase, what is it? Responsibility without authority is slavery, right? That's where that originated from. And he was responding to a video by Allie Beth Stuckey when she was younger, better looking, and less kind of shrill than she is right now. Like today, I don't know, she must have got married or something because she dresses like, Amish women look immodest next to her. That's where she's at right now. And I think it's funny because I know that Homath has been talking about this recently. Some chick, I don't know who it was, has been like sort of flaunting her wedding ring. I guess she's flaunting it on like Twitter and on Instagram. Yep. There's no husband in it's just a wedding ring. I got a ring, and of course, all the trad femmes come out of the woodwork. And do you think they're congratulating her? No, they're like, fuck you, bitch. You spread for men and you don't deserve that. And of course, his whole video was about deserving, but I thought it was interesting that this is not coming from the sort of the leftist side of the aisle. This is coming from women who are, ostensibly right wing. And as you guys know, you were just asking me a moment ago, marriage causes divorce. What's my most seminal work, right? And I think one of the things you threw on there was the Sisterhood Uber Alles, right? And part of the Sisterhood Uber Alles, above everything, is it doesn't matter what your religion is, doesn't matter what your political stripe is, doesn't matter what your nationality, ethnicity, tribal affiliations, sports team. I don't care what it is. All of that is sublimated by the sisterhood. So it doesn't matter what the political stripe is. And in this case, it happens to be, well, at least, like I said, ostensibly happens to be like traditional conservatism. It's trad cons, that's what that means. Or trad femmes, if you so choose. But the chicks are just acting like chicks. They're not any better or any worse than leftist women, right? And they're just as catty and just as bitchy, and they're just as self-focused and sisterhood-focused as anyone else is. And I wanted to sort of delve into why that happens to be the case. I got a few updates that I want to go over a little bit too. But before I do, announcements here. Let's see, what do I got coming up? Oh, we did a great show. We did a fantastic show on Wednesday. We did have CBS News, the news team that was in here. They were a little behind the scenes. So people kept saying, well, where are they? Like they're going to sit down next to us and go, well, what do you bitches have to say about these two guys, these two jokers? They weren't part of the fucking show.
What's your opinion?
What's your opinion about this? And I think with the exception of one chick, we probably had it was a really good show, a really good turnout. The girls were very involved in the conversation. None of them got too hammered, like I said, with the exception of the Aussie girl that was right next to me with the like 2,600 cc tits. But even her, you know, we still, like, Mike kept her in check pretty well. And we had a really good turnout. Every girl showed up, and more so because I had Laura come with me because just in case somebody like bottled out, and we just happened to have an extra seat for her anyway, so I put Laura in the mix. And then CJ Sparks was there. We had, surprised the hell out of me, Harper Raines was there. That's the first time she's ever Harper. We've been trying to get Mike, I don't know, has been trying to get Harper on the show for a long time. That was the first time she ever showed up. If you don't know who Harper Raines is, go look her up on Raines, Reings, Raines. Go look her up. You'll be pleasantly surprised. If you hate tats on women, don't look up Harper. but if red flags are green flags to you, go look up Harper. Yes, definitely. And then we had Anissa, who was on. She's the winner of the bikini contest. She is representing Babes in Toyland at Swimsuit USA this year. So she's actually in San Diego, I think, for some next round or something like that. But she's good friends with Mike. Lola was there. We had a lot of good, really, really good chicks on this show. And I'm hoping that the B-roll and everything else that CBS picked up during that whole show, we went for like 2 hours and 10 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. I'm hoping that those guys got something that's going to be, at least in some way, a positive spin, if nothing else. Yes, okay, forget it. But I'm hoping that I'm cautiously optimistic that they're actually going to like use something from that, if they use anything at all from the show. And I have the feel, so it could go one way or the other. They could either say, okay, well, these guys actually have like a decent, you know, substantive, constructive conversation going on in their show, or they're just going to show tits and ass, and they're going to go, look at these horrors, these degenerates on this show. I can't believe it. You got to remember that the CBS like documentary, whatever it's going to be, I have no idea. I don't even know what the working title is at this point. So don't ask me when it's going to come out, because I got no fucking clue. If I had to guess, probably not till like Memorial Day when GTA 6 comes out, or that probably will come out. But I'm whenever somebody takes like a doc, I've done so many interviews for documentaries that have never seen the light of day. And I can think of at least 3 of them off the top of my head right now. So when people say, hey, we want to come down and video you, I'm like, okay, but I'm just doing it as sort of a favor to you, because I don't even think you guys are going to come out with this. And Mike and I did this one documentary for, I forget the guy's name. I think it was Rock or something like that. We did it for this documentary called like No Simp or something like that, or No Simping, or basically it was kind of a humorous title for a very serious subject. And that was the one where they interviewed me in my Camaro, and they interviewed Mike in a rented like old school, like classic Camaro or something like that. And it was good, but I did the interview in March of 2024. I mean, it's going to be 2 years, and I'm just like, okay, well, you promised me the moon. I don't care, but until I see the actual documentary, it's not that good. At the very least, Dr. Phil actually produced the show. They actually published the show. Nobody else has, at least as far as I know. So we'll see how it goes. So anyways, it was a good show. CBS was here. People kept, is CBS there? Is CBS there? Yes, for fuck's sake. And then when we're trying to like give them a really good show, and I got like people in the chat go, is this a CBS show? As if CBS is broadcasting it simultaneously as us. And then here's a funny thing is at the end of the show, you know how we go around the table and we go like, how'd you think? What'd you think of the show? What do you think of the show? You know, we ask all the girls and stuff like that. And then right at the very end, I'm like, guys from CBS, how did you like the show? And they're like, yeah, it was, you know, they're nodding their heads and everything, because I wanted to make sure that we got them included in the actual show at some point. And of course, it was towards the end, but at least we got him on there. And the other people kept asking, well, why are you doing this? They're going to put you in a bad light, Rollo. You know, this is, what is it? This is a bad look, Rollo. This is a very bad look for you. You know how many people have told me that? This is a very bad look for you. You'll be destroyed. Like, if we even get clips of Access Vegas in the documentary to begin with, I'll be happy. It'll be a success to me, because at least it will launch the show into a national audience at that point. Yeah. So that's, win or lose, at least we got a national exposure from CBS. And people might check it out to say, well, are these guys full of shit or are they not full of shit? Right. I think a lot of the times when people, like, especially now, when you see the mainstream do something about like gender topics, or like, especially when it comes to the crisis of masculinity, I think a lot of times that backfires on these guys. If they try to paint it in a bad light or something, or they try to make us look ridiculous, guys will still come to check us out. Are these guys really ridiculous? Let's go see how ridiculous these guys are. And then they do, and they realize that we actually have something to say, and then it like has the opposite effect. So hopefully that's the way it's going to work out. I don't have, like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic, but the cautious part is probably more cautious than optimistic. So we'll see how it goes. I didn't really want to do an interview with them, but Mike did an interview. I did a prelim interview, which they will probably use quotes, or they'll probably use audio or whatever from, which is fine. I gave them permission to do so. Mike did a full up interview with them before the show. And so they've got us, they certainly have everything they need for us. I tried to be, I was a little bit standoffish after that, because I didn't want to get too far in the weeds, because you know me, I'm so fucking trusting, okay? Like people just take me for a ride. But anyways, yeah, it does. You're correct about that. The red pill needs to stay niche. Exactly. If it goes mainstream, what happens? Andrew Tate, that's what happens. If it goes mainstream, what happens? Pearl Davis, that's what happens. If it goes mainstream, then you've got other ass hats like fucking Balducci or whatever his name, what's his fucking name? The guy who is accused of sexual harassment, Justin Baldoni. Balducci, he's an author. Now Baldoni, like, that's what you get. You get people. You get Steve Bartlett. You get Chris Williamson. You get all these guys who just want to shit on the red pill. That's what you get, because if it goes mainstream, then grifters like that want to ride whatever the new hotness happens to be. So yeah, you're correct. I think so. Yeah, or you get Sadia Khan. Thank you very much. Yes, you do get Sadia Khan for that. Pixie. Oh, by the way, I should just do this right now, man. Why not? Why not just delve into this really quickly? Here is the Rollo was right section of today's show. Let's see if I can get this on here real quick. I'm going to share this screen with you real fast. And there it is. Here, this is the Rollo was right part of the show. Let's see. This is Progressive Victory drops a statement after Hassan attacked them and showed FEC filings of their creators. Says they've been headed in a more progressive direction for months. How do you get more progressive than Progressive Victory is what I'd like to know. A direction for months, and are not a quote unquote Zionist organization. Also confirmed that they cut ties with Brian Wu and Destiny a while ago. Really? You mean there was actually ties between Destiny and Progressive Victory? Who would have known that? That's who would have known that. Here's the thing. It was our PAC, that their political action committee, FEC filing that inadvertently doxed Dylan Burns and other creators we worked with last year. Creators who used our FEC filing as a source are not at fault. We are a digital third place with a volunteer electoral organization sprinkled on top. Digital third place. Our goal is to become infamous for being the Democrats' greatest threat in the primary, but their greatest ally in the general. So this is Progressive Victory. All right, this was the organization that employed. Wait, put me full screen now. That employed Destiny, Jasmine Jafar, Farah, what's her face? Let's see who else was part of this. Well, Brian Wu was part of this whole thing. Let's see, Vaush was also involved in this. Pixie also involved in this. Let's see who else. Any girl. What's Ashley? Not well. I should say. No. What's her name? What's that chick's name? She's at Valuetainment right now. Amy Dangerfield. Amy Dangerfield involved in all of this too. Let's see who else. All of you, shills, confirmed, shills right here, confirmed. Okay, got it. Well, damn it, yeah. All I got to do is wait. That's all I got to do. Does anybody have any more conspiracy theories? Because all of mine they're all came true. Here, put it back up again. Our leadership is Drismala. Drismala, by the way, is Sam. His name is Sam Drismala. He is the guy who was the founder of Progressive Victory. I actually found out about him before I discovered Progressive Victory, and then discovered also that they had been buying influencers to help them sort of foist their democratic, shite upon the world. Of course, Destiny was their superstar, was their rock star for this whole thing, and now I guess he's off. They don't want to have anything to do with him. Why? Well, it's because it's become confirmed that he was, passing pornographic material or disseminating pornographic material of a quote unquote, and this is allegedly, quote unquote, of a 17-year-old girl whose name was Rose. And I think you know who I'm talking about. Already confirmed. And by the way, already reported a crime to the police department. I don't know if they've ever come and frog marched him out of his apartment. God knows if they could do that. But definitely a sex offender, or should be a sex offender. And what is it? Admitted sex pest. Destiny, definitely on there. Let's see here. Sam Drismala and many more volunteers. PV Progressive Victory hired Brian Wu in a contract position in 2023 when we were in the space. We were new in the space and trying to make contacts with more creators. We cut ties with Brian Wu, December 2023 for good reason, which we are not going to give you right now. As for Destiny, our last year, our media program consists of trying to unite the audiences of as many political creators as possible in order to get them to cross over onto each other's content, which they did, such as Lauren Southern, such as Brittany Venti, such as Vaush, such as, well, in this case, sorry to say, also Andrew Wilson. If you did any kind of material, any kind of content, you platformed Destiny, this was already in the work. This was cooked. It was already baked into to that appearance. Okay, I'm not saying that they knew about it, but if you platformed him, and there's a lot of people who I have a great deal of respect for, as you know, if you platform Destiny, you're part of the problem. Whether you knew it or not, you were part of the effing problem. Okay. If you platformed Sneeko, you platformed Nick, you platformed Destiny, you platformed any of these guys, you're part of it. You're part of that whole freaking cabal. Okay. So I don't want to hear this. Oh, well, these guys are against Trump. Yeah. You had those motherfuckers on your show. They were pumping this shit out, trying to take down me, trying to take down Donovan Sharp, trying to take down MLD, trying to take down, to a lesser degree, I guess, Mike Sartain, trying to take down, and literally, this was part of the contract, part of the mission statement. Let's see how many of these red pill guys we can take down. So all this bullshit about these guys wanting to bring back men into the Democratic Party. We need to have this outreach to men. Richard Reeves. We need to have this outreach to men. Gavin Newsom? We need to do all this great stuff. What are you doing? Nothing. You're just quote unquote raising awareness, doing absolutely nothing. But we need to reach out and bring them back to the party. No, you didn't. You know what you did last year? You actively tried to marginalize them. You actively tried to prevent them from going out and demoralize them from going out to the polls and voting for Trump. That's why you effing lost. For all of that, for all the money they spent, for all the investment they made in trying to buy influencers, you failed. You still fucking failed. And here it is in black and white, right? As for Destiny, our last year to cross-platform, what we quickly discovered is that most creators have very little desire to do either. With that, we scuttled our media program after the election. Yeah, because you lost. And have not continued to mix liberal creators with our leftist values. Is there a difference between the leftists and the liberals? Because I thought they would be synonymous. This year, with stronger community leadership, we have doubled down on the things we are best at. Trying to like marginalize male voters, building our community, and helping elect the candidates that they choose to support, whether we like them or not. Below, we have attached our revised mission statement, published just prior to all this drama unfolding. I'm not even going to read this shit. Anyways, Rollo, say it with me. Rollo was right. Thank you. Okay, now we can move on. Now that we've confirmed that progressive victory is exactly what I told you it was. I remember when Farah and Jasmine Jafar were here in Vegas at this old Sticky Paw studio. They were sitting across from Mike, and Mike asked them point blank, are you on the payroll for Progressive Victory or a Democratic PAC, right? And they're like, we plead the fifth. And you know why they pled the fifth? Because their non-disclosure agreement, their NDAs, were still in effect. That's why. Sorry. Anything that has Jasmine Jafar on it, anything that has Farah on it, anything that has the not so erudite who belongs in jail too, anything that has Destiny on it, all of them should have an asterisk by it. Paid. It's kind of like Barry Bonds. He's the greatest, home run king. Asterisk for these people too. So never take anything these sons of bitches say at face value, because it's probably a script that they're reading that was presented to them from an organization like Progressive Victory. There you go. I said my piece. We're out. Done with this crap, man. So anyways,
Are you not entertained?
did I hit that? Oh.
I hit that. Is this not why you were here?
I need to make it just a straight up drop for that one is what I need to do. Oh, jeez.
FBI, open up!
Okay. Getting back at it here. Oh, gosh. Okay. Sir, Mr. Jason. What's up, brother? I see you got tickets to the gun show. Well, I mean, the chick who was on the last video, I just wanted to emphasize her points for her. I mean, somebody had to, right? You look bigger than The Rock now. Well, yeah, that's not too hard. Have you seen the pictures of The Rock recently?
I haven't.
Holy shit, man. He looks like, I don't know, like a televangelist or something all of a sudden. I mean, it's okay. It's working for him, I guess. Yeah, there you go. Put the side-by-sides right there. Look at that.
I'm going to pull it up.
Yeah, put that on the screen right quick if you can. Holy shit, man. That is quite the transformation there. He even looks kind of small in the other one too. He's been way bigger. He's been way bigger than that. I mean, people say, oh, he must be off the gear now. Yeah, and probably on the Ozempic. Because you don't even if you got off the gear, he'd have to be off the gear for a long time. Let's be honest. Yeah, dude. I mean, he looks like he's about to give you this positivity hustle speech or something. Hey, I'm gonna talk about
what's that? The one guy, Andrew Kaufman or Andy Kaufman, whatever his name is.
Yeah. Wow. Look at that. Holy shit. Where's that? Oh, yeah. I am not bigger than The Rock. Trust me. Even now, I'm probably not as big as The Rock. How tall is The Rock? The Rock's like
6'4".
Because he was a professional wrestler, so he's got to be huge, right? If it looks, then value added. Okay.
He's 6'5".
6'5", yeah. I'm only 5'11". Sorry, and we can go test this over here on the now that we have the measuring. By the way, I brought that up, and I showed that to Mike. Mike laughed his ass off when he saw that. Yeah, we now in the studio. We now have the measuring tape, the 7-Eleven, convenience store measuring tape, so you can see how tall the perp was as he exits, as you're bleeding out from gunshot wounds. I think he was 7 feet tall. Yes. Yeah. We'll talk about looks here in just a second. I just started seeing a 20-year-old girl after being in a 5-year relationship with my ex, 29. I'm 34. Any tips on dating a way younger girl than me? Don't try to be 20 years old.
Pull into your frame.
Yeah, I was going to say, play to your strength. And your strength is that one of the things that a lot of guys do, the biggest mistake, this is just off the top of my head here. One of the biggest mistakes that guys do, and you're not even that old. What are you, 34? She's 20.
Prime years for a do, man.
And
you can't even take her to the club.
Do you think a chick at 20 years old that's dating a 34-year-old guy doesn't have a fake ID? Joke's on you, motherfucker. Yeah. No. Do you think that a 34-year-old guy wouldn't be able to supply alcohol at his apartment to the said 20 to 20 year? Not saying that they should do that. That is very unethical. Should not do that. Certainly not in the state of Nevada. But what will they ever talk about? What's funny is I'm 57 years old, and the chick Laura, who I kind of pal around with now and then, she's a good friend. She is 40. She just turned 40, right? So there is a 17-year difference between myself and Laura right now. There's only a 14-year difference between these two guys. This woman is like, what's the difference? I'm actually way older than Laura is. Oh, it's okay when she's 40, but it's not okay when she's 20. And you want to know what the real truth behind age differences is? And I'm only saying this because I'm gonna try to dig the screwdriver in a little bit to Taylor Burrows here, because she just did a video on age differences. Who, by the way, she doesn't have any problem with age differences, but the reason for that is because when a woman is in between the ages of 18 and 28, that's her what? Her hoe phase, not my words, her party years, right? That's when she should be exploring her options. That's when, and women realize this, whether they admit to this or not, that right around 23 years old-ish, where do I have my media assets? Here they are. Oh my goodness, there you go. Right around the 23-year-old mark, right at the peak of that pink peak, right there. That's when women are at their sexual ages. They are at the peak of their potential agency, their potential power, right? That's why here's a joke once again. That's why they call the store Forever 21, not Forever 41. Women will always be looking back always be trying to get back, I should say, to the years when they were 22, 23, 24, somewhere in there. Okay. The cosmetic industry and the cosmetic surgery industry don't exist because women want to look older. They want to look younger. Why? Because that's when they were at the peak of their sexual agency, which is why women have especially older women, have such a problem with older men. And by older, I mean, like in this case, mid-30s, have such a problem with those guys getting with a woman who's 20, 21, 22 years old. They will make up the sisterhood will make up every excuse in the book to try to shame men, to say it's wrong. It's not the age span, it's the time in which that woman is dating the older guy. No one cares if a 40-year-old woman is dating a 57-year-old guy. No one cares if a 35-year-old woman is dating a 45-year-old man. No one cares. No one cares. You know when they care? When a 34-year-old guy tries to date a 20-year-old girl. That's when they care. Why? Because that's when women are at their peak agency, and the sisterhood, the aggregate of the sisterhood, cannot stand the idea that a woman might in some way waste her best agency potential, her best sexual agency potential right around, 20 is a little young, but let's just say 22, 23. They cannot stand that. Because it's not about the age difference. It's about the power dynamic. It's about that woman who is 20 some odd years old, not going out and following Sandbergian hypergamy, which is date all the crazy boys, date the rock band drummers, date the motorcycle gang member, date the bad boys, date the guys who are not good for you, but don't marry them. Wait until you're 30. Wait until you're 32. And then find a nice guy who wants to share the load and find a guy who's still stupid and still completely ignorant of how the game is played. Make sure he looks good and he has a lot of potential or has made a lot of is making a lot of money, and grab that guy and try to stick the landing as best you can. And by the way, that's not a Pearlism. That's actually a Dalrockism. Stick the landing. But that's the reason why they have a problem with that is because every woman on some level of consciousness understands that that's the game. This is the game right here. That timeline right there. What, 23 right there in the center of the party years? That's why women have a problem with that. That little orange span right there between 20 and close to 30, somewhere in there, or 20 to 27. I peg it usually about 18 to 28 these days. But when I was writing this, by the way, this is in my book, my second book, Preventative Medicine, and pretty much the entire book is based on that one timeline right there. And so right around during the party years, the quote unquote hoe phase, that's why women have such a problem with guys who are older dating women who are that much younger in their 20s, not in their 30s, not in their 40s, not in their 50s. No one cares about age appropriateness. You had your turn, bitch. That's basically what it comes down to. But when they see women who are young and naive and they're giving it up and they're selling out their sexual agency at 22, 23 to a guy who's 34 to 36, somewhere around there, that's when they have a problem with it. It has nothing to do with the age. Age gap means fuck all. It's just about the timing. They should just call it the timing gap. To the point where they will say you are a quote unquote PEDO because of this. Like, women will say that. They don't say that when you're 45 and you're dating a 35-year-old. No, I can still be 30 and dating a 20-year-old, but I'm not a PDO when I do that. That's why. It's all about the power dynamic at that point. Let's see. Just starting. So here's your tip. The tip that I have for you is don't try to pretend like you're in your 20s. Own your maturity. Too many guys want to be like, oh man, too many guys who are 34 to 36 when they're hitting their stride and they're just really kind of getting into their peak years right there. They think that they need to go back and sort of like relive and rekindle that, or like be as hip as they were when they were 24, right? 10 years ago. Right? Don't do that. Be like, own the maturity side of things. Don't try to, people go, well, Rolo, don't you try to do that yourself? No, not in real life. Okay. Like, I own my maturity. Okay. Maybe I don't when I'm dressing myself in the morning, but when I'm interacting, I'm dealing with women, whether they're girls on the show or the people that I know from, through myself or Mike or anything like that. I'm like, oh, hey, let's go skateboarding. That's not coming out of my mouth. So, Rello, everyone speaks about the male loneliness epidemic. What I see online is the female loneliness epidemic. Women online crying. Do you see this too? Will it get worse? It's already starting to sort of pick up, because I think as Gen Z gets older and as like the millennials, the younger millennials, like get older, they're starting to understand the gravity of the situation, especially women who are like, say, what are millennial women? Millennial women would be between like 35 and 44 right now. I want to say something like that. I know the oldest millennial is 44 right now. I think that's what it is. But anyways, I think it's just now starting to set in. Like, we keep harping on this data set of like, if this is the Morgan Stanley rise of the she-economy.
29 to 44.
29 to 44. So if millennials aren't even out of the 20s yet, right? Yeah. So millennial women, not Gen Z, millennial women, although maybe Gen Z too. Millennial women are now this is the tip of the iceberg. They're just now becoming aware. I know, sorry. I feel like I should make like little shadow animals or something every time I do that.
Do a puppet show.
Let's do a puppet show. They're just now understanding the gravity of the situation. So when women are crying on the thing, it's just attention is all it is. And like even Homath was talking about like how there are providers and there are like deservers. Women are always deservers. Like, we deserve better. That's why I kept like, whenever you want to know why people lose their shit when I'm on Twitter and I say, men, you don't owe women a better life. women who feel like they deserve a better life at the provisioning of men, they're the first ones to pipe up. And men who believe the same thing give me grief. They want to hit back. That's the white knights wait their entire existence for me to tweet something like that. Say, oh, he's one of the enemy. Let's hit him. Right? You owe women, Charlie Kirk. You owe women a better life. You know, God, where is fucking Aaron Clary when I need it? Like, yeah, it's whether it's economically or it's like ethically or morally or religiously or God knows whatever else. Right? You owe women a better life. Why? Because we've oppressed them for so long? Because of the patriarchy? The patriarchy that you as a conservative male think should be reinstated? If that's the case, then you don't owe women jack shit. You know, if you're going to either that or you better embrace the patriarchy. You better like with open arms, man, wholeheartedly, just embrace the patriarchy. Patriarchy is not like the thing is like patriarchy has become this sort of like, I think Royce would call it a shibboleth. It's this big gigantic monster that like people think is like this. They don't even understand it. They think it's like some social, socially constructed just monstrosity. That's just, I am patriarchy, like Frankenstein. I am patriarchy, here to devour your babies. And that's how you get like, remember the very first video that I showed of the two kids where feminists, well, probably single mommy is teaching the boys about how bad men are. Oh, men have started all the wars. Wow, bad men. And that one kid was like ashamed, like the youngest kid was ashamed, like he wanted to get off of the camera because he was like basically running with his, his tail, his dick between his legs, right? I'm sorry for being male. Like that's the kind, you want to talk about blue pill conditioning? I can't think of a better example than teaching your boy, and like it's not enough to just do it privately. We've got to make sure that we get like social affirmation by publishing that on TikTok, by publishing it on Instagram, probably mostly TikTok, because Instagram we'd probably get eaten alive or something like that. But yeah, so you're bravo, girl. Teach your boys to respect women. Teach your boys to vote for the next female president, to vote for Hillary Clinton, right? Teach your boys like they have no mind of their own. They can't make up. They no capacity for critical thinking. But one of the things that she mentions in there is like the patriarchy, which they repeat back. They parrot back almost verbatim, like they've been taught what to say. And so part of that is like, oh, the patriarchy this, the patriarchy that. Oh, men have structured the social fabric to stay in power and be, tyrants and stuff like that. It's like there's absolutely like it certainly hasn't been that way since the sexual revolution. But that's what we're still teaching our kids. You remember what I said about how we're trying to, like I was saying about Richard Reeves, we said we're trying to solve 21st century problems with 20th century solutions. Yep. This is a good example, but it's only from a leftist, a feminist side of things. Feminists are still trying to solve the 21st century problems with 20th century Gloria Steinem, 20th century Betty Friedan, 20th century the suffragettes, the patriarchy, which I bet even the feminist mother couldn't really couldn't really define for anybody. It's just like I said, it's just some shibboleth that is a convenient boogeyman to have. And you're teaching your sons this, and your sons are gonna grow up to be pussies. Sorry to say. They're not going to be strong men. They're not going to be able to think. Here's the thing. They should, if your ideology, in this case, feminism, if your ideology is, if you're so certain of the correctness and the righteousness of your ideology, that should pass critical thought. That should pass, like, you should be able to take just an average person who knows nothing about your ideology, you teach them about it, and they should go, yeah, that's a good idea. That should be their first, if it's a real thing, if it's true, if it makes sense, if it passes the smell test, whatever else, they should be able to go, yeah, using my capacity for critical thinking, what you've told me makes sense. I'm with you. If not, but we women, especially feminists, know that feminism does not hold water anymore. That's why they have to condition, and like it's basically social engineering. They have to socially engineer their kids to parrot back the same bullshit from 1970, from Gloria Steinem. It's the same thing. What's this? Oh, crying. So yeah, as far as the crying on, there women are just that's, you want to know why feminist mom has to teach the kids that? Because she's already beginning to realize she's fucked. Oh, well, I'm going to try to correct my situation by making sure the younger generation, in this case, my sons, know how to treat a woman and know that they owe, and you want to know, it's not even conservatives that should be answering this question when I say, you don't owe women a better life. It's leftist women that are teaching their sons that they owe women a better life, but they're teaching it from a different angle, which is basically, well, you men have historically oppressed and dominated and tyrannized women forever. And so our reparations now, that's basically what this is. Reparations are, I'm going to teach my growing young impressionable boys about the patriarchy, about what about our bodies ourselves, right? The feminine mystique. I'm going to, all this 70s militant feminist crap that we still have as a solution for 21st century problems right now, we're still going to repeat those lies and parrot those things back. And just basically, it's called a zombie meme. It's a zombie theory. It's already been proven to be bullshit, but we keep recycling. It's like socialism. It's like communism. It's like, well, there's never been a successful communist, government or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Can we just move on past that and actually try to find something else? Right? Oh, it seems like capitalism is a good idea. Okay. Well, that's fine. Well, we can talk, at least we can talk about that. But rather than keep repeating the same horseshit over and over again, we'll go back to those zombie theories that just simply won't die because it's more comfortable to cling to them than it is to have the creativity to try to think of something else. Like, even if it's bullshit, at least you're thinking of something else. Even if it's completely false, you're like, okay, well, that was horseshit, but now we know better. And so maybe we could try this. But there's no this, because they don't have the capacity for the creative thinking or even the critical thinking that would prompt them to try to innovate, to try, whether it's an invention or it's a government or it's a system of belief. They don't have any kind of like innovative, creative thought. So what do? We go back to the old bullshit. And that's how you get videos like that. Let's see. Louis Theroux is still doing his Manosphere documentary for Netflix, coming out in 2026. Thoughts on the project and participating? Louis Theroux sounds familiar. He's been probably doing this for quite some time. Here's the problem with documentaries. Okay, this is what I've experienced throughout the 23, almost 24 years I've been doing this right now. Anytime everybody has ever hit me up about a documentary, and we've been talking about documentaries for the Red Pill and the Manosphere at least since I started doing the 21 convention. I remember when I did the first 21 convention in 2017, there are people talking about doing a documentary. Never materialized, never happened. And then I hear, then you got Pearl, who keeps saying, "Oh, we're going to do this divorce documentary and stuff." Still, like she's been harping on this for the last 3 or 4 years. Never going to happen. And even the guy who, like I was just mentioning before, the guys who want to do the No Simp documentary, whatever, I don't know what the title is, the No Simp documentary that me and Mike participated in, and Fresh and Fit. And these guys followed us around, it was a 2024 Babes in Toyland, and I believe it was in Vegas, and it was around March or April or something like that. They were there. They did a lot of good B-roll and everything. I know that they got some good footage. I know that they're going to do well with it. The problem is by the time it gets out, it will be 2026. They shot the fucking thing in 2024. That is a lifetime in the Manosphere. That's why I keep telling, like, whenever, like, and God bless him, I love Myron to death, but when there's like some new predicament, there's some new hotness, there's some new topic that comes up, like Matt Walsh starts going after Andrew Tate or something like that, and Myron hits me up and says, "Hey, can you get out to Miami?" can you come out? Like, I live around the corner. Can you come out to Miami and so we can do a show about this? And I would love to be able to do that, but I can't just drop it at a moment's notice. It takes me at least a week to go get I gotta get a flight. I'm gonna get a flight immediately. You know how much that would cost? And so planning, there's a logistics aspect that goes along with it. The problem is if you don't hit it right then and there, it's dead by Friday. The shit that starts on Monday, it's dead by Friday. In this particular niche, particularly in the manosphere per se, it's appear or disappear. And if you don't hit things immediately, you want to know why I did Sadia Khan last week? Because if I didn't and I start doing it today, you'd be like, Rollo, don't you know we already talked about that 2 weeks ago? Gosh, boy, what a boomer. That's what you guys would give me. You guys are fucking animals. But if I had not done Sadia Khan right then and there, of course, and it happens. I risk the impression of being a gossip. You know why? Because Aaron Clary talked about Sadia Khan. MTR, let's see, Myron and Fresh talked about her. I know, we talked about her on Access Vegas. And God knows whoever else. Everybody wants to talk. Sadia Khan is a trending hashtag, or was last week on YouTube. This week, crickets. Nothing. Nobody cares now. And you know what's funny is Goobs is supposed to come out with another video that's going to just bake her and cook her. Whatever. Isn't that? We're going to cook her. Sorry, boomer moment. It's a Gen X moment. We're really going to cook Sadia. That, you know what the time to cook Sadia was, Goob? Last week when you were cooking Sadia. That's when it was. That you got to strike while the iron's hot, man. So yeah, and so when you ask me about like the thoughts on the project, I don't know anything about the project, especially if he's like going to be using documentary footage and interviews and everything from 2024 in 2026. It's dead. It's already dead. Shit. We have moved on. Like the gravy days of the manosphere was 21 and 22, 2021 and 2022. 2023, things are starting to fall off because like once you get like 6 months in, now we're in an election cycle. 2024, nobody got two shits about, unless I was talking about like vasectomies or something like that. Then all of a sudden everybody wants to pile on a slow news week, right? But we were all in social culture war, socio-political shit because it was an election year. Oh my God, Trump got shot. Right. Okay. Then we're going to pivot over to, like, I can't pivot, but everybody else wanted to pivot into, what they're still talking about today. Right. But now you see all these people who are sort of coming out of the woodwork trying to pile onto the red pill one more time, because that's when it's not an election year, suddenly everybody wants to talk about the shit that Rollo's talking about. Right. Not that I'll ever get past the gate, but so when you're in that cycle and everybody wants to start talking about other things, then the project you started, the documentary you started, is like no longer valid until things start picking up once again. But all the footage that you had, like I said, I did the interviews for this one documentary in March of 2023. Yeah, 2023. And then 2024. And so now coming up on, if this documentary doesn't come out until like say March of 2026, 2 years from footage you shot 2 years ago. That's like, it's no longer like, I might be dead by then. God, hopefully I'm not. But like, let's say, well, God rest his soul, Red Pill Thor is gone. If he had taken video and interviewed Red Pill Thor, and this is like way before he had any brain cancer or anything like that, you had gone and taken that, and now the documentary comes out 2 years later. Guy's gone. People can't go, hey, what did you say? You can't have conversations anymore. Like when the Adolescence came out in March of 2023, this year, 2025. You can have those conversations right then and there. You can talk about it right then and there. But you know what? No one's here we are. What is it? September of 2025. No one's talking about adolescence. And if they are, it's only because it's now school's back in session, and the UK wants to teach boys how to be little girls and wants to teach them about toxic masculinity and all this stuff. Oh yeah, remember that that show Adolescence back in, when was that? Nobody knows, right? They could tell you. I can tell you it was March of this year. Shit, I could barely remember that. The internet never forgets, but people have very short attention spans on the internet. So I'm sure it's going to be a great thing, but I don't know enough about it, and nobody's ever approached me. And so the fact that they're not even approaching me about it, at least CBS approached me, right? This guy never approached me. How do you have a red pill documentary and you don't interview me? Tell me.
Rollo's really full of himself.
You're goddamn right I am. When it comes to this shit,
Rollo, he's the self-proclaimed godfather of the manosphere.
I never call myself the Godfather. That was Pat Campbell who gave me that name. It's not me like aggrandizing myself. And that was long before Kevin Samuels was like, Kevin Samuels was he still looked like Urkel. He still had the bow tie, and he was like selling like men's fragrances back then. That's when I got that moniker. Just watched you and the GOAT interview. How come you didn't bring up the children playing with dynamite article with mystery? Mad respect, brother. I probably should have. I don't know. It just didn't cross my mind. I'm glad you liked it, though. I'm glad. Mystery's a cool dude. I want to do more work with Mystery, actually. What's wrong with sandwiches and sourdough except it ruins my stack? Sourdough. Does sourdough really ruin your stack? What is that? Absorb the...
It's pretty high calorie.
It absorbs the ethanoate? Oh, no. You'll definitely go smooth if you like eat too much of that shit. I like sandwiches, man. Half your age plus 7 is a lie. Yeah, it is now. Remember that? Half plus 7? Have you ever heard that before? Half plus 7 is like the acceptable age is the dating range. So like, okay, so half plus 7. Okay, I'm 57. What's half of that? 22? 20? No, it's not 25. And then plus 7. So what would that would be? Let's just say it would be 32?
Yeah.
So I can date a 32. Fuck yeah. Sign me up. Fuck yeah, I'm in. Like the older I get, the younger the range. Yeah, because it spreads out, right? Half plus 7, right? So what does that make? So shit. If you rounded me off to, well, I'm not 60, so don't fucking age me that much yet. God damn it. Yeah. So that would put 33, 34, somewhere in there. Like there's like a mathematicians in there. No, Rollo, you'll be 41. Yes, half plus 7. I remember that. That was supposed to be the acceptable dating range. Hey, Rollo, why don't you read your own books? You should. I do read my own book. I write my own books, dude. What the fuck do you mean? Oh, are you saying he doesn't take his own advice? I do read dude, fuck you. You know how long I've been editing book 6? Fuck you. Is enjoy the decline the best answer to all this? No. And I know Aaron Clary is going to fight me on this. Sorry, Aaron. No, I don't think so. I've never been enjoy the decline, dude, because once you get to the bottom of the decline, you're no better than anybody else at that point. You're just as fucked as everybody else. My theory is fight the decline. And if you enjoy the decline, mine is like thrive in the chaos. That's Rollo Tomasi. I'm going to write that book. Does Aaron Clary have that? Like enjoy the decline? I think that's one of his books, isn't it? Or something. It sounds like a book title Aaron would write. I'm going to write a book. It's going to be the opposite. Well, opposite. It's going to be the let's say the what you call it? The complement. The complementary book to that is going to be how to thrive in the chaos. There it is. Enjoy the decline. You're right. It is one of his books. Yes. God, you can like just come up with like some like really pithy little, aphorism or something and make it the most pessimistic, cynical shit there is. And you can look it up. Oh, he already wrote the book. That's already an Aaron Clary book. It'd be like, fuck all y'all. Hey, that's an Aaron Clary book. Angry, get off my lawn. That'll be it's an Aaron Clary book. Oh my god. Gran Torino. That's an Aaron Clary book. You ruined Friends TV show for me, Rolo. Thanks a lot. You know, it's fun. Okay, people are going to hate me for this. I went and saw Jerry Seinfeld.
Okay.
A lot. His stand-up comedian thing. It was just at Caesars up here. I just saw it on Friday night. I saw it Friday. It was great. Me and my wife went there. I like Jerry Seinfeld. People, he's a Jew. Yeah, I know. I know. Okay, can we get past that part? Why would you give money to a Jew? He's gonna take your money and filch you. What do you give him, his shekels? Shut the fuck up, please. It was fun, dude. It was a fun show. People were into it. It's interesting too because like I think of Seinfeld as like sort of a Gen X kind of comedian, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean the show started in '89 and it kept going till 96, something like that. It went for like at least 6 or 7 seasons, I believe. So Jerry Seinfeld, like somebody like because at the end of the show he takes questions from the audience and he kind of riffs on what they're saying.
Crowd work.
One of the questions was, Jerry, what do you think of Friends? And he goes, let me tell you a secret about Friends. He says, when we started the show, when we started Seinfeld, which was in '89, it started, 89, 90, 91, 92. By 92, 93, somewhere in there, it was a hit show, right?
Yeah.
And Friends started in 93, I believe, right?
Okay.
So it was about 3 years later, about almost 3 years after Seinfeld started. He goes, what NBC did was they looked at our show and they go, hey, this is really working. What if we did this with good looking people? And he goes, and it worked. So essentially Friends is just Seinfeld with like better looking actors and actresses in it. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. I ruined Friends for you. Friends is actually a horror show. It's not a comedy. It's actually horror. It's terror. Is what it should be.
Dread.
Yeah, it should be dread. Yeah, it's a brilliant take on Friends too. Friends is just Seinfeld with better looking people. God, it was good. It was a good show, man. It's like one of those shows where like he's so good you laugh from like start to finish, and you're hurting because you laugh so much, like because he's there for an hour, right? It's not even like a show. It's not like go see Pantera or something like that. I mean, you are there and like paying attention the whole time, and he's just very good. He's very talented. He doesn't have to do sign. He doesn't have to do anything for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
You can tell he does this, and he comes up with his own stand up still to this day because he just loves the craft. So because he doesn't have to do this shit anymore.
Yeah.
And married a much younger chick, by the way. I think she was like 18 or 17 or 18. 17 when they met, 18 when they got married. And they're still together, by the way. It's like 25 years. So I was semi-impressed with that. But what's she going to do? Divorce Jerry Seinfeld? I don't think so. Yeah. Yeah, Titanic is most definitely a horror movie. So here's why I wanted to do today's topic about like looks and social proof pre-selection. I'm gonna get into the nuts and bolts of it with you guys here really quickly. So the first thing is I need to make a distinction. I'm gonna go full on reignite like modules for you here for a moment. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should join my reignite group, and then you will know what I'm talking about because you'll have access to videos and these are all hardcore porn. No, they're all hardcore like topics. It's all nuts and bolts. It's all mechanics and how you can use those mechanics too. I don't tell people what to do. I don't give prescriptions, but the suggestions are in the analysis, I think. So like when people can say, well, this is what I'm struggling with right now. I'm going to learn more about this. And then I'm going to take this education and this knowledge and I'm going to apply it to my life. And for the most part, it works for people. So when people keep saying, "Oh, Rollo, you just go and you blow sweet sunshine up people's asses and just filch their shekels out of their bags or whatever," like, no, and no, I'm not Jewish. God, can I tell you about that? I was at Bel Air with Jake Shields, and Sterling Cooper one time. I was there with my wife actually. And because Sterling Cooper, by the way, Sterling Cooper will be in next week. He'll be in Vegas from the 15th to the 18th. We're going to have him on Access Vegas, on the very next Access Vegas, which is not this Wednesday, but is the following Wednesday. Sterling Cooper is already confirmed for that show. So he will be in-house right here. And if I can get an interview with, and we'll probably book you for this. If I can get an interview with Sterling and Mike and meet all three, because we're all friends anyways. But anyway, so I'm at Bel Air, which is in the Durango Casino. And I'm there, And Jake Shields comes up, and he's hanging out with Sterling. Part of the conversation, Jake Shields goes, "Are you Jewish?" Because you know how Jake Shields is, right? And I'm like, Jake, don't believe everything you hear from the bots that Nick Fuentes like uses to like sort of like ruin my reputation. No, I am not Jewish. Okay. And so like now he's like, I know, it was funny as fuck, but it was funny because I knew it was coming too. I knew it was kind of, he's kind of it's like that head cock. Like he's trying to like listen to like what am I gonna start speaking Yiddish all of a sudden? Like, how's that gonna work, man? Yeah, so that was funny. That was a good one. Oh, who's hitting me up? Oh, Laura. Hi. Laura is hungover as fuck. I'm just gonna sell her out right now. Anytime you text me during this show, expect me to like tell everybody about it on the show. It's okay. I love Laura. So anyways, I got into this conversation with this dude, and I'm just going to show you the Twitter thread because you guys, Twitter thread guys, I'm going to give you your props. You inspired me to do at least part of the show with this. So where did it go? Share screen. All right. So this was a conversation that I had with this dude. Okay. The Ken Farmer, who I have no idea who this guy is. He's kind of like, he's low limit. What is he like? He's not even 18. He's not even 2,000 followers. It says, I'm not a fan of the red pill men stuff. Red pill, quote unquote. Red pill men stuff. In my opinion, Rollo Tomassi, well, at least he's mentioning by name. He had the balls to do that. Rollo Tomassi didn't beat feminism. Was I supposed to? He just rebranded it for men. I rebranded.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. He positions himself as the antidote to feminism. I do. But ends up replicating its style of analysis, just inverted. To my knowledge, I don't think feminism has ever used evolutionary psychology to prove its own points. Like, please, because I know you guys have to know that I use Rob Henderson, Rolf Dengen, Steve Stewart Williams, Gad Saad, Marty Hazelton. I run the gamut. Okay, the luminaries of feminist thought, from the militant feminist thought, to not to be confused with first, second wave. There is no waves of feminism. Okay, but like 60s militant feminism of Gloria Steinem, Betty Friedan, that flavor right there. To my knowledge, they never use the kind of data that I use when I'm just basically explaining shit to people. And I think that's the problem with that. Really, really badly, tradcons really, really want the red pill to be the flip side of feminism. And the reason, and I don't even know necessarily that Ken Farmer is maybe he is. Ken, what are you? Country boy with a love for nature, banjos, and debates. What is this? This is Matt Walsh. Not your political ally, but hey, let's agree on the important stuff. Just here to ruffle some feathers. Doesn't strike me as a bot, but I could be wrong, I suppose. Anyways, so I'm just gonna, because he's just started the conversation here. I'm not even talking about Ken here, but I tweeted this out, or I put this out there. Is I was saying, like, do you want me to be your savior? Like, am I your personal Jesus Christ? Because or am I Neo? Yes. He's here to balance the force. No, I mean, is that what you're looking for? That's interesting to me. Like, oh, he positions himself. What did he say? He positions himself. He positions himself. He positions himself as the antidote to feminism. I have never in my life positioned myself. There's only one time I positioned myself, and that was the colonoscopy I had 2 weeks ago. As the antidote to feminism. I've never positioned myself as the antidote to feminism. How are you even getting that? Like that, it's like so far from the truth. It's like, that is like imaginative. And so I'm like, were you looking for a savior to deliver you from feminism? Is that what you want me to be? Like the Neo of
wanted to be saved.
Yes. Is that what you want me to do? Because I'm not that dude. He is the Messiah, and I'm not the Messiah. But ends up replicating its style of analysis. I don't think See, feminism has never been about analysis. It's always been about presumptiveness. It's always been a hate movement. It's always been a supremacism movement. The red pill has nothing to do with that. And I'm just going to reiterate this here because it needs to be said. The red pill is a praxeology. It is the loose science of intersexual dynamics, at least in my definition of it anyways. It is a praxeology. And I'm very careful in using that term, praxeology, because it is not concerned with morals. It is not concerned with what's right and what's wrong. It is concerned with what is true and what is not true. There's a difference between right and wrong and truth and not truth and falsity, right? Whatever. The red pill is about empirical inquiry into what is true and what is not true. It's not about how it should be used. It's not about me positioning myself as the savior from feminism, right? That would be an ism, right? That red pill ism. In fact, if I was going to be a guru, if I wanted to be a cult leader, I'd be a fucking great cult leader. I would be awesome. People go, Rollo, you just don't have the market share that Andrew Tate does. I'm like, yeah, by design. Yeah, by design. Oh, yeah, I'm sure you'll say that. Well, yeah, I would, because for really since my So Suave days, I've said the same thing. I don't want people to go, I'm a Tomasi guy, a Tomasiism. I don't want that, ever want that. In fact, when people go, Rollo, I think God put you in my life to sort of like change my life and help me out. I'm glad you feel like there's been some sort of divine inspiration behind all that, but I am not Jesus Christ. I am not Neo from the Matrix. I am not your savior. I don't want to be your savior. You get to go do that. If I can give you the information, if I can give you and educate you with if I can replicate the analysis, of just giving you info, and you use that info and that education and that I think of it as equipping guys, right? If I give you the tools to change your life, the fact that you're changing your life, that's a compliment to me. That's a success to me. Please buy my books, but like that's really what I'm after. I want guys to like show me how great what they've done, and it takes a while. It might take 2 years, it might take 10 years. I don't know, but that to me, like when somebody shows me my book and it's got like liner notes and it's like highlighted in 3 different colors of highlighter, and there's like little sticky tags in it, and it's like all dog-eared and everything else, and they go, "Oh, Rollo, I love your stuff," and I go, "That's what I want to see." That means you devoured it. You come back to it, right? There's parts of the book where you'll go, that doesn't really apply to me. But then there's other parts where you go, oh shit, he's speaking to me, right? I am not the savior. I'm the messenger. I am just the messenger. I'm John the Baptist. I am the voice crying in the wilderness. That's all I am, right? And I hope you can take that information and use it to your own benefit, which many, many people have, and they've saved their own lives. And I can understand sometimes you can get emotional about that, because especially if you had plans to off yourself, that might be a very significant time in your life. And I'm happy that I could be there for you and help you with that. But my goal is for you to become the author of your own life, for you to be the one who saves your own life, for you to be the one who like betters your own life. Because it's not one size fits all. And so that's really the heart of the red pill. That's why it's not fucking feminism. It's not an ism of any kind. It is a praxeology. It is the study of human behavior, in that human behavior has a purpose, has a latent purpose. There's a reason why we do the fucking things we do. So the red pill is the praxeology of intersexual dynamics. Okay, moving on. Let's go back to this. They're putting me back up again. There we go. All right, so I think I've pretty much positioned myself. Then this guy, Gyromite. Now, this guy might be a bot. I don't know. He says, my only issue with Rollo is that he has a naive faith in game to attract women and thinks looks equals physique. Yeah, well, not entirely. So we're going to get into looks here a little bit. And so I'm just like, nope. And because this is the thing by the way, this is in my first book, Have a Look, which essentially is it's not so much about physique as it is about having a style, having some sort of coherent, congruent look with what you're about, right? So, for instance, I will give you this one more time. So, because we have to do a little bit of remedial shit here, okay? If you take maybe The Rock is not the best example of this right now, but let's just say if you take The Rock before he went thin and skinny, actually, maybe it is a good example. Because when you think of The Rock, you think of The Rock as being yoked, like the professional wrestler where he's, rolling his eyes and has that kind of cocky smile and everything like that, bald, but has, traps out to here and is just like, it's 6'5" and everything. And so when you see him thin, that's incongruent with what we expect The Rock to be, because we have this sort of mental image of what The Rock's about, right?
Expectation.
Okay. Yeah. So I've said this before. If you take The Rock, his older image, his older iteration, and you put him in a tutu for the Tooth Fairy movie or whatever it is, right? We laugh at that because it's incongruent with what we expect from a guy who looks like the fucking Rock, right? Now, think of that by order of degree. So if you've got a guy who is like tall and he's got a deep voice and he's like very, he seems like just like the appearance and the way he presents himself, he projects himself. You have an expectation of what that guy's about, right? If you see a guy in a leather jacket with long hair and he looks like a rock star, you expect him to say, yeah, I play bass in this band. I'm Nikki Sixx. I'm this, whatever. I play guitar, whatever. You're expecting certain things from that guy. But if that guy says, no, actually, I'm an attorney or I'm a dentist, whenever you go, you see, like, remember the movie Wild Hogs? Like you see a guy who owns a Harley. You got two choices. Either he's a dentist or a lawyer. He's at like Sturgis, right? Mm-hmm. He's a dentist or a lawyer, like, because they're the only ones who can afford an Indian motorcycle, right? Or else that guy's hardcore and has been that way pretty much his entire life. He's Lemmy Kilmister from Motorhead, right? Yeah. He looks the part. You're expecting Lemmy to sound the way Lemmy does and have the attitude and smell. His breath smells like Jack Daniels. You are expecting that from him, right? Or else he's a lawyer. But you're not expecting that. Like if a guy looks like that, you're expecting the guy who owns that Indian motorcycle to sound and to project himself like Lemmy from Motorhead. But when he goes, no, sorry, I'm an oral surgeon. Like it suddenly breaks the whole thing. Because it's like, oh, you're LARPing. Or for instance, here's another good one. Burning Man. You go up to Burning Man. You know who can afford to go to Burning Man? Dentists, attorneys, doctors, and they're usually the ones that go, right? Not the people who started it when it was like an art installation kind of thing out in the middle of Black Rock Desert. And the reason I know that is because I remember I lived in Reno long enough to know when it started and when all these people who go in there, they come out looking like they've been all, rolled in dough or rolled in flour or something like that. And they kept coming back. I knew enough people because oddly enough, Rollo Tomasi also has a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Fine Arts, right? I knew a lot of those guys when I was at UNR and I was studying my art degrees as well, right? So a lot of these guys who are in graphic design, they would go to Burning Man as well, right? But when you see those guys and they're dressed in their Burning Man attire, that is not the same thing that they wear when they're dealing with clients for an ad campaign. They are completely different, right? Because you're not expecting that. It's incongruent with what you're expecting from that person. So when I'm talking to somebody and they seem very uptight and they seem very conservative, and then they go to Burning Man and they go to the orgy tent. That's not what I'm expecting when the guy who I'm spending money on for my ad campaign wants to tell me how great his campaign is, right? So that's the difference between the projected personality. Remember, looks is not just this, okay? When you see me, you have a certain, you have an expectation anyways because you're watching this show. But when you see me or a guy who looks like me, I have a certain look that you're going to say, okay, this guy must do. You're going to come to, people say, you can't judge a book by its cover. Goddamn right, wrong. You absolutely can judge a book by its cover because if you have a cover, you want people to read the fucking book. You want them to know what's inside the fucking book. So yes, by the way, physiognomy is a real thing. If a guy has beady eyes, like a guy's eyes, if you see a guy whose eyes are chick, whose eyes are like way out here, it looks like Scrat from Ice Age. That's your subconscious going, stay away from this motherfucker. Right? We understand those things. Like if you're on the street, especially out here, if you're out in Fremont and one of these bums is out there and they're just talking to the sky and just like having a conversation with God, that's not because they have an earpiece in. Okay. It's because they are actually mentally disturbed. And when you see that, your subconscious, your peripheral awareness sees that and you're going, away from this motherfucker. That's because that's instinct. It's caution. You're going to stay away. Or you see a dude who looks like he's about to throw down. You know, there's the body language is I'm about to clock this motherfucker. Like we understand that. We have an instinctual understanding of that because the behavior is congruent with what we expect is going to be the look is congruent with what projection is congruent with what we believe the behavior is about to be. Okay, so looks are exactly in that same category, right? So if I'm built, I better be able to dress myself fairly well, which I think I do. I actually put some time and effort into not that anybody would ever give me any props for this, but I put some time and effort into buying things. People don't know this, but maybe you do. I purchased about a $2,000, maybe $2,500 suit from Jackson Maximus about 2 years ago. I had to have it retailored because I've gotten bigger now. But it was a custom suit. There's only one like it in the world. And that was back when I was like stupid and going, oh yeah, I got to spend $2,000 on a suit. And I'm glad I did because I still have it. I still wear it. It's always been functional for me. And it's my Lucifer Morningstar suit. It's the one I wore on Dr. Phil. And because there's only one like it in the world. So am I projecting myself physically with that? Maybe a little bit, but it's the look and the style. So that's like the way you dress, the way you present yourself, the way you speak. That's all part of your look. It's all just basically a projection. How tall you are, how short you are. What do we expect from a short guy? We expect short man's disease, right? I mean, we expect a guy to be like, oh, he must be compensating for. He has a monster truck. You know, what's he compensating for? He might have like a 10-inch dick, but he's 5'6". And now I'm going to sell out Jake. Speaking of which. Like the drummer of my band, Jake Cope, who is now going to take this part of the video and clip this out. And trust me, you will see this on his Instagram here in a bit. So I'm going to sell out Jake. Jake is what, 5'6", 5'7", maybe, and somewhere between 5'6.5", right? He's a okay, good, no homo. He's a good looking dude. You know, he's all right. And he's not. I mean, he works out definitely, but he's not like ripped. But he's stocky built, right? You know, he's not fat for sure. He's definitely put some muscle on him since the time I've known him. And that dude is a pussy slayer at 5'6", and you can confirm this. The guy, because we know who are. There's certain women who are watching this right now who also know the same fucking thing, and I know you're watching. I'm not going to name names because that would really sell you out and fuck you up. But let's just say certain women who have been on Access Vegas have been part of that harem. And it's not just because he's a drummer, right? It's because he has a great attitude. He's funny. He smiles. He approaches. He talks. He can carry on a good conversation. I mean, he does have he's got a symmetrical face, right? But how old is he? 43? 40, he's in certainly his early 40s, right? And basically, as a guy who is 5'6", 5'7", he's probably 5'7". I keep calling him 5'6", right? But as a guy who's not 5'8", let's just say, the guy cleans up. The guy does very well with women, and I can attest to this fact. Mike Sartain can sure the fuck attest to this fact too. So can Kyle. So can a lot of other people. So, but does very well. Now a lot of people go, "Oh, Rollo, I'm only 5 foot. I'm only 5'9", Rollo. How am I ever gonna get a girl? And you can't make me taller. Get fucking jacked, man. Like I love how people like will sit there and like looks maxers, which I haven't heard from in a long time, but I expect it'll probably crop up in 2026. Black pill doomers and looks maxers, LMS, right? Face and LMS, right? I'm sure you'll definitely, because these come in cycles, right? There'll be a return of all this shit at some point. Well, you can't You can't make me taller. No, but you can be you can present yourself better. You can get a style. You can get a look. You can certainly like improve yourself. There's always room for improvement. Always. Like, stop making up fucking conditions for yourself as to why you are going to fail and start looking at workarounds of why maybe you could at the very least, put yourself into a better position than you are right now. Well, why would I want to do that for these hoes, Rolo? You're not. Are you doing it for those hoes, or are you doing it for yourself? That might be a byproduct of you doing it and wanting to be in better shape and wanting to look better. Why does anybody want to look better anyways, right? Well, there's health issues for one. Lord knows when you get older, you'll understand this. But the other thing is the reason why people want to look better is so they can fuck. Okay. So they can have sex. Okay. So that women will want to fuck them and they won't feel ashamed when they see their ass in the mirror. Okay. That's why. Sorry, not sorry. Like, when people keep saying, oh man, I don't do that for, I don't work out for women. Get the fuck out of here. Of course you do. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I do. I certainly stay in shape for not only my wife, but like I got to fucking, you know why I stay in shape? Like, I got a lot of different reasons, but like, I'll give you a few off the top of my head. One is I like sex so much. I don't want to see my fat ass fucking my wife. Right. Okay. I enjoy sex with my wife, and it is awesome. She looks good. I look good. And I want it to stay that way for as long as I possibly can maintain it. Okay. Number two, I'm on Access Vegas. Have you seen the chicks on Access Vegas? I got, okay. God, I can't believe I'm about to say this. Like, Mike is in good shape. Okay. I think I'm a little, maybe slightly better shape, and I'm 10 years older than Mike is, right? Now, Mike has a busy schedule. He's got to do a busy schedule. Let me stop bullshit. Mike stays up until like 5 a.m. every morning, okay? And then he sleeps. He's on the graveyard shift, okay? Now, I think I'm in a little bit better shape than Mike is. Now, hopefully Mike will be like as in good shape as I am when he hits 57. He's coming up on a birthday too, by the way, which is October 3rd. But Mike doesn't necessarily need to be like this, right? Because Mike has gravitas. Mike has personality. Mike has a good face, right? Mike could probably stand to drop, I don't know what his body fat percent. I think of things in body fat percentage rather than pounds right now. So like, I'm at 14% body fat right now. And I don't know where Mike is, but I would argue I'm probably past him and lower than him in body fat percentage. And I also have dogs that I run. So, but he doesn't need that. Mike does not need that. Mike has social proof. Mike has pre-selection. Mike has a roster of women that even Jake probably couldn't match. Right. Like, he's just a likable dude. I love Mike honest to God, no homo. I love Michael Sartain. Okay. He's a good dude. He's my brother. There's very few people in this world I trust implicitly. Mike is one of those people. Okay. Kyle's another one.
Yeah.
But Mike doesn't necessarily have to be Chad to have that. Now, being in shape, having a good physique, I don't necessarily like, this is where I'm going to like disagree with the guy on the Twitter thing. Physicality definitely gets you in the door. Okay. Definitely. You don't get to be in your frame. You don't get to have the conversation unless you are hot, period. End of story. What does that entail? Well, looks entail style. It entails how you project yourself. It absolutely does, because you have to be congruent with the way you look. Okay. So it goes part and parcel with that. Is it physique and muscularity? Absolutely it is. Do you have to be Arnold fucking Schwarzenegger? No, you don't. But you have to look like you play water polo. You have to look like you're a surfer at the very least. You have to look, and so, even if you're thin, if you have like, is it mesomorph, ectomorph? If you're an ectomorph, are those still body types still a thing? I don't know if that got disproven or not. Ectomorph, endomorph, and mesomorph. If you're not a mesomorph, and by the way, I'm not a mesomorph. Okay, if anything, I'm a skinny bitch. I've always been a hard gainer my entire life. Okay, so when you do it consistently enough, then suddenly, like, I could probably, like, I've said this before. I go to Powerhouse Gym and I love working out at Powerhouse Gym because everybody there makes me feel small. Hide Yamagishi is 5'9", maybe 5'8". He's definitely shorter than I am, but that dude is way more yoked than I am. That dude is like a bull neck and everything. Like he is like a badger, man. And when he is in contest prep, he looks really, really good. Yeah, because he's got pictures of himself on contest, and he is the IFBB Pro Champion of 2023. Okay, who else? Alvaro Pena, who's been on the show, who's with Crystal Becks, right? I set them up. I didn't even realize I was doing it at the time. But Alvaro is not a Mr. Olympia competitor, but he is a bodybuilding competitor in that he does the fitness ones, or I forget what the other categories are. There's a fitness category. There's it's almost like a casual category or something like that. Yeah. He could probably, like, you put a little bit more muscle on him, he could definitely get a pro if he doesn't already have a pro card. But Alvaro used to be fat. And I know this because I had this conversation with him before we had him on the show, and he was showing me pictures of his fat pictures when he was like he was a teenager. Yeah. When he was he's in his 20s now, but like he was a fat kid. And I asked him, I said, well, what prompted you to want to get in the shape? Because he's like, he's my fitness goal, right? And he's like, I wanted to fuck chicks. Like that was a simple answer. I mean, he said it in Spanish, but but he's like, basically he wanted because chicks like guys with muscles. That's why he did that. And he's not a bad, facially, he's not a bad, he's got a very symmetrical face. He's got kind of a baby face. That's why Bex likes him so much. But he was a male stripper, for fuck's sake. I mean, the guy went from being the fat kid in high school to being Alvaro fucking Pena, right? And so does muscles work for him? Yes, it certainly did. But he still has to be able to talk to people. He still has to be personable. He still has to have some kind of style, which he does, which is bodybuilder style, I guess. He's got to have some sort of way of presenting himself. So looks aren't just about physique. They're also about style. They're also about your clothing. They're also about presenting and projecting yourself. Physique is a force multiplier. Okay. If you don't have, if you're a fat guy, your game is going to suffer. You could still be a fat guy and have good game and still get laid, but you would be in a much better position, and it would be life on easy mode. Well, why don't you get in fucking shape? Well, I can't, Rolo. My face is like Quasimodo, right? Okay, well, fine, but you can be Quasimodo who looks like a freaking IFBB pro bodybuilder. Get your fucking pro card, right? It's a force multiplier. Now, this is where I kind of differ from Mike Sartain's take on things. Mike thinks that it's all about status. Women fuck you because of status, and which is true, but there are other elements to it than just status. Okay, so if a woman believes you're like somewhat semi-famous, like I've had women throw. God, I can't say this. I've had women throw themselves at me because I'm Rollo Tomasi, or because they've heard of me, or maybe they didn't even know who I was, and then I'm at like the white party in Miami. And suddenly they look me up on Instagram. I've got 75,000 followers. I got the blue check. I'm, number one best-selling author. I'm the co-host of Access Vegas. They see all the images. They see all the videos and everything. They say, oh, this guy's important, right? Now suddenly attraction factor goes up. I'm not talking arousal factor. I'm talking attraction factor. So a lot of people like to conflate those two concepts. And I've said this God knows how many different times. There's a difference between arousal and attraction. Attraction is long-term. Attraction is what makes you a good dad. It's what makes you a good prospect for the future. So if you ask a woman, what are you looking for in a guy? She's going to say, he's got to like puppy dogs. He's got to like rainbows. My mom has to like him. My dad has to like him. My dog has to like him. He has to want children in the future. He has to be funny. He has to be educated. He has to come from a good family. He has to have some money. He has to be ambitious. He has to like all this laundry list of stuff, right? And everything, every item, every article that women name is usually something that is going to benefit them in the long term. Like it's a lifestyle value added. Attraction triggers, attraction cues, attraction attributes tend to be value added attributes. Arousal is much different. Arousal is what gets you going, what gets your pussy wet, what gets the juices flowing. If you would have just simply asked those questions, you'll get a much different answer, right? It's going to be a V taper. It's going to be broad. It's going to be boulder shoulders. It's going to be a 6-pack abs. Even though women will say, "I don't need a guy with 6-pack abs," and then they're dating the guy from Thunder Down Under, right? He's got to have a good, strong jawline. He's got to have a nice butt because it has to have ass divots. Ass divots is the peak pinnacle of manhood, right? If you got the little scoops out of the side right there, that's what you need. There's machines at Powerhouse that they've only focused on ass divots. Welcome to the Ass Divots show. If you just started the show and started the stream right now, we're talking about ass divots, legs, having biceps, right? Oh, I imagine his arms around me, right? But those are cues that are protection cues, but they're also physical prowess cues. Okay, he looks like he would be a good fuck. He looks like women will fuck guys simply because they look good. And now I'm going to cover the part that everybody's going to talk about, which is, well, what about Rolo? What about those guys who create those fake profiles and they are they have some like a picture of Justin Waller, right? Or they have a picture of a guy who's just like, he's a Chad, right? He's got a good strong jawline. He's got like the surfer boy haircut. He's got blue eyes. He's got a perfectly symmetrical face. You could just maybe see the separation in his pecs and he's hanging out. And the underneath the profile, the Tinder profile is haven't showered in 3 weeks. Just got out of jail for sexual assault charges and beating the hell out of my ex-girlfriend's 10-year-old stepson. Right? And as long as he looks good, women be like, you can beat me up anytime you want to.
I can fix him.
Yes, I can fix him, right? And it's the hybristophilia effect in effect. And yes, does that happen? Yes, but okay, you're correct. You're 100%, guys. You are 100% correct about that. It's all perception. Curating your one of the criticisms that Mike Sartain gets a lot for Men of Action and really Reignite too, is we help guys curate their Instagram and show, and present the perception of high value. We live in an era right now where it has never been easier to fake the cues of high value. You can go, you don't even have to rent the Lamborghini. Just go down to the Cosmo at the valet. There's gonna be a McLaren there. There's gonna be a fucking Lamborghini there. And if you could just throw on a what looks, it could be a Walmart suit, but if it looks kind of like it might be an Armani, or it just kind of looks, like it's like you're in you got a shirt and you got, a nice sports jacket on and you're just leaning against the Lambo. That's all it takes. It's just perception. Like Mike was talking about this when you're talking about value, or you're talking about, not value. What was it? Status. Status is all perception. Well, that's fake, Rolo. Why would you do that? Doesn't matter. Don't care. Got laid. Doesn't matter. You're getting your foot in the door. That's all Instagram is. It's makeup. It's makeup for chicks. That's what it is. God, I'm going to sell out Jim Kilgore once more. Sorry, Jim. If you go and you look at Jim Kilgore's Instagram, we should just take that. Go pull up. Go pull up. He won't care. Go pull up Jim Kilgore's Instagram. You guys are gonna shit your pants. Okay, because Jim is a year older than me, so he's 58. He is actually an airline pilot, so he kind of has that going for him. Okay, good. He put me on there. Can you bring it up? Yeah.
I have to take this down first.
That's fine. Jim Kilgore. Here we go. Jesus. He's got me on there already. If you go, click on that first one there. Okay. That one. I know where this is.
It's gonna.
Okay. Don't worry about it then. You can still see it. That shot right there where he's on the edge, that was in Miami, right before the Miami White Party. Is that other one right there where he's got the red sunglasses on? I know where that was shot. That was in Miami as well. Now look at the middle shot right there. No one around whatsoever. There's no one on the street. He looks like he's having cafe au lait and like Milan or something like that. I know that this is Tivoli. This is not. This is in Las Vegas. This is not. This is not. He's not in Milan. Then look at that. Look at those other ones, like those two where he's sitting down there in the casino and he's coming down the stairs. I know where those are. That is in Vegas, man. All of this is very much curated. And God bless him, I love him. But look at the what do you expect, like ladies and gentlemen, children? If you see a guy like this, what do you expect from this guy? What do you think he does for a living? God, look at that one where he's like, that's the Holy Oh shit, that's funny. You can take it out. You can take it out now. That's cool. Oh God. So oh shit. So that's Jim Kilgore, who is, God bless him, I love. He's my brother. But that's the, like, you want to know why he's all alone in those shots, and he's not like, he doesn't have a big old like barracuda like showing, hey, look at this bass I caught, right? And he's not like, sucking him back with, hey bro, we're in Vegas, they're, because those pictures don't work. He's showing exotic locations, high demonstration, at least a perception of higher value. He's by himself. Why do you think that is? Why do you think there's only Jim? And this is a technique. Why do you think there's only Jim? So women will go, I could be next to him. Yeah. There's no other bitches. There's no one else around. I wish I was there with this charming, mature. He's not mature. Refined, mature gentleman. I wish I could be with him now. There's your clip. Yeah, because that's the perception. Now, Jim actually is a commercial airline pilot. I won't tell you for what, because he probably wouldn't appreciate me saying that. But he has his shit together. Now, Jim has gone through a divorce. He's read my book. He's gone through the program. He was part of Men of Action. He's been an instructor, I guess, for Reignite, for lack of a better term, for Reignite. He was the style guy for Reignite. Style matters. Looks matter. Strength, muscularity does matter. Is it the only thing? No. Does it matter? Is it a force multiplier? You're goddamn right. You're goddamn right. It is a force multiplier. Everything else is a force multiplier. You can't just peg it on one fucking thing. If you could, why aren't you a personal trainer? If it was all about looks, if it's all, we can't all be Chads. You could certainly ape the look. You could certainly try. You can certainly put yourself out there. You will be better off for doing so. So to say that you can't do it is just self-defeat at this point. So let me get the rest of these here. I meant on Audible. Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't mean to. Did I burn you for something? Sorry, my bad. If you need to be taller, if you need to be taller to not be a loser, you're cooked. Okay. Well, you don't need to be taller. There's a guy, Anthony. I can't remember his last name. He's got an Italian last name. He's part of MOA. This dude is just shy of, just a little bit over. He might be 5'2", right? That dude fucking cleans up with chicks because he knows how to use social proof. And I wish I remembered his last name. He's actually one of the biggest success stories that Mike and MOA actually have. I think he's an instructor. He's definitely a closer for them right now. Rolo, do you think The Rock weight loss is due to cutting the roids off his diet? Yes, I definitely do. Same thing with Batista, right? Yep. What's his name?
I don't know.
Is it John Batista? I forget the fucking guy's name.
Right?
Anyways, Dax. Dax. You know who I'm talking about. It's Dax. Yeah, Batista, was it?
Oh, that's some other place.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the wrestler.
Yeah, the wrestler guy. Wrestler star.
Dave
Batista. Okay. Yeah, he was in Dune, right? That dude definitely cut the roids. I think one of the things that you see when you see like people have like this, like Ethan Klein, by the way, Ethan Klein lost a shit ton of weight, by the way. H3H3.
Yeah.
And good on him. Like, I'm not a big fan of Ethan, and I don't have any plans on going on your show, because I know what you're about. But I will, bravo, applause, golf clap for your weight loss, because he was a fat ass for a long time. And I don't know if it's because of Ozempic, but it doesn't look like he's working out, but he has lost quite a bit of weight. Maybe it's Ozempic, who knows? Semaglutide. Maybe it's semaglutide. You gotta know. I know my peptides. Or retatrutide, which is actually better than semaglutide. Ask me about that. So that's a peptide sometime. It's legal. It's experimental, but it's legal. It is legal now. For the moment, it's legal. Well, let me get back to that question. Yes, I do think so, because if you want to talk physique, I'll be happy to talk physique with you. I'm going to have Todd Lee, MD, Dr. Todd Lee, in here in the studio at some point, probably later on, sometime in the fall. He said, I know, in October. That's right, because he's coming out for the Mr. O. Mr. O is in Vegas. It's always in Vegas.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so Mr. Olympia and Miss Olympia are in Vegas. He's coming out for that show. He's not competing, obviously. He's IFBB. So he's going to be coming out for that show. When he's here in Vegas during October, I'm going to get him in studio. If I can get him on Access Vegas, I will. But it's going to kind of depend on my surgery and my health conditions at the time. But I will have him in this show. And if I have to just sit here with a freaking tube sticking out of me, I'm going to do it. I will have Todd in here, and I want to talk to him about physicality, about lifting weights, about gear, about peptides, about hormone optimization. I want to talk to, because he'll get down to nuts and bolts. Like he'll tell you, like, if you follow him, his name is Todd Lee MD. Todd Lee MD is his handle on Instagram. I would highly recommend, if you're into bodybuilding, or if you want to get into bodybuilding, you follow him, because he's got some really great takes, not only in just like gear and peptides and stuff like that, but also on working out and everything else. He is actually a medical doctor. So, and he's got great stuff. He does consults and stuff, but he is a doc. He is a real doctor, unlike Sadia Khan. And Todd Lee's great. I'm going to be talking to him soon. But if you want to talk to me about just anything physical, I try not to talk too much about like fitness myself, because I only know what works for me, and I'm not a personal trainer. I can tell you what I did. I'll be happy to answer any questions about what I've done. But a lot of my gains have been as a result of moving to Las Vegas and working out at Powerhouse and working out with people like Alvaro Pena and Hide Yamagishi. Am I on TRT? Yes, I am. Have I done peptides? Yes, I have. Have I done other things? Go look at Todd. Go look at Todd's feed, and you'll understand. But I'll be upfront with it. I think it's better to be transparent about shit like that than anything else. But as far as Batista and The Rock, I think that them slimming down is absolutely a result of that. Like it could be they're just getting older and they don't want to risk their health, which is weird, because you can actually do gear into your 50s and 60s if you wanted to, but you have to be smart about it. Like Todd Lee actually talks about this quite a bit. You just have to be smart about it, and you're not competing. Like The Rock is not ever going to be a wrestler ever again, and he's certainly not going to be competing in the IFBB or Olympia. So what does he need to do? Why would he need to? He still looks good. I mean, he's still in shape, and he still looks. I mean, his face looks like The Rock. He doesn't need to do that anymore. Now, are his roles going to change as a result of this? Is the real question.
It's gonna be a hacker now.
Yeah, how is he going to play a big burly tough guy anymore? How is Dave Bautista going to play Dax? If they wanted to, like, they can't do another Guardians of the Galaxy because Dax is Dax, right? He would have to bulk up for that, and that requires gear. No lie, that requires gear. The only actor I know who has not done gear for their roles has been Henry Cavill and Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman did everything natural, as far as I know. He probably did TRT. Probably might have done peptides, but I don't think he wasn't doing gear. At least that's what he says. Anyways, who knows? He might have been just for the Wolverine role. And then I was done. I get stopped. Hi, a blue pill friend of this is yellow. A blue pill friend of mine got in jail last week. Got in jail because his girlfriends accused him for emotional violence. Okay, after a 10-year relationship, when is the best time to give him your books? Now. You know when it was? 10 years ago. When's the second best time? Now. Emotional violence. How do you commit emotional violence? I'm scarred by your emotional outbursts. God, let me see. Hold on. You, Jim Cell, Max, and never try to shoot your shot are very shy and reserved in social situations. Do bare minimum nothing. Wondering why all the gym gains are not resulting in dating and mating arena. That's a good observation, which is actually where I wanted to go with this. You probably know the joke, Kyle. You probably know this joke, okay?
Okay.
You've seen the meme of the guy who's a skinny fuck and he sees like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He sees like a guy on a calendar. He's like yoked and everything. Yeah. And he thinks in his head, if I get yoked like this dude, chicks are going to want to, they're going to surround me and want to touch my muscles and everything, right? Yeah. And then he goes and he gets jacked. He probably does gear or whatever, does the whole thing. And then he goes through this thing, and it's not the chicks that go talk to him, it's the guys. Like, hey, what's your stack, bro? You know, hey, looking good, bro. You know, and then doesn't get any pussy and doesn't understand why he's not getting pussy. Same thing, like just recently, there was this dude who posted this. God, I wish I still had this. This guy on Twitter posted this picture of himself. I mentioned this on Access Vegas. The guy posted a picture of the guy was yoked. Right. I don't know if he's on gear, maybe, but said the tweet was this is my body after 14 years of working out. And then to his credit, yoked, definitely wider chest than I'd have, right? Bigger shoulders and everything, probably a little shorter than me. But the guy was looked pretty good. Like he knows what he's doing. Right. Yeah. And then he was saying, so the chick that I'm paraphrasing, but the chick that he wanted to get with, because he had done this for 14 years, like he was thinking, well, I've worked out, this is what I look like now. The chick that he was crushing on started getting with this guy who is like this emo guy who has no muscles, doesn't have anything like his personality, is broke. Is like an emo, weesh kind of guy, and she's like head over heels in love with this guy and is going to marry this guy, right? And he's pissed off because he put all of this energy and this effort into building himself up, right? Okay, whose fault is that? Who is there any? Maybe no one's fault is that. Maybe it's just is the way it is, right? But I will tell you this right now: whenever you're flexing. Whenever you're like me, whenever you're flexing, like if I do this on the show, people laugh because it's me just like showing off and being a dork, right? Ooh, right? If I go and I project that out there, then it looks like I'm flexing. Then it looks like I'm egotistical. Then it looks like I'm being cocky and funny, and it's overt. It's out in the open, and I do that just because to get a laugh, right? I'm not doing it because I'm like, hey, come on, girls, touch my muscles. Here you go. I'm not doing that. But I will say this: when the girls want to touch me or they want to give me a longer hug than necessary. Yeah, it's not when I have a powerhouse tank top on. It's when I have like long flowing shirts on, or I've got I'm not even like you can still see definite. You can still see how I'm built, right? That's not when, it's just you being casual. That's when chicks check you out. Not when you're trying to push yourself out there. You're projecting that thing out. You're projecting your physique. Hey, look, bitch, this is 14 years of working out.
They want the mystery.
No, they don't. You know what they want? They check you out when you're walking down the hallway. They check you out when you're you're busy doing something else, right? Because you're not trying. And that's when they're kind of look sideways at you. That's when they want to give you a hug. That's when they want to. Somebody asked me this one time. Do the girls on the show notice? Do they react differently to you now that? Because I used to be much thinner. Let's just be honest, right? Yeah. I was way thinner than that, and I've changed my look over coming up. Well, October will be 3 years of Access Vegas. Definitely changed my look since then, right? And I've had, I remember this because we were still at Sticky Paws at one point, and it was it Allie Summers was there, Katie Moore. I think it was Katie Moore. These are girls who have been on the show over and over and over again. Yep. We've had them on so many times. I think it was Katie Moore, or it might have been Allie, who come up to me, and because this is when I was commuting, like I was still flying down from Reno, and we were at the old studio. We were at Sticky Paws. And I'm like, hey, how you doing? And, give her a hug because she's a hugger and everything like that. And she would hold me just a little bit longer than she did before. And she would do like one of these kind of things, like, because they want to, I'm not dressed like this. I just have a t-shirt on, or I just have something else going on. That's when there's just a little bit of little handsiness right there to see if it's real.
They want to be the judge of it.
To see, to sample the goods just a little bit, right? Just so still socially acceptable kind of thing, right? Like if you did that as a guy, then you'd go to HR. but just a little for a beat longer, right? And you notice that kind of stuff, especially if you went from being a fat ass to being somewhat in shape. It's not when you're flexing. It's not when you're trying to project your physique out there. It's not when you're like in fucking tighty whities and trying to do a pose down or some shit like that. That's you trying too hard. But if you're like women love a guy who looks good, who doesn't know he looks good, right? They love a guy who is like, he's in shape and everything. He's all that, but he's not. He doesn't realize he's just a guy, right? He's just doing his thing, going about his day, doing his business and stuff like that. That's when chicks check you out, not when you're flexing, not when you're trying to do it. It's when you're not trying to do it, when you're casual about it, as opposed to being overt about it. That's why that one guy, remember the dude who was like, Will Costello was even talking about this guy he showed his before and after pictures on he used to be overweight, he had a dad bod, and then he went and dropped down to like I think 12% body fat or something like that, and look good. I mean, you could see visible abs and at his age, and was looking really good. And of course the women go, I liked him when he was fat, right? But yeah, you'll say that, and the reason why you don't like the guy it's the same dude. The reason why you don't like the guy who's like at 12% body fat and ripped and everything, it's not because he's intimidating or anything. It's because he's trying. It's because he's trying to push it out there, trying to promote. He's trying to say, look at me, bitch. It's a pose down, most muscular. Like
there could be other fish on the reel.
If that same dude was just had a well-fitting shirt on, or maybe whatever, you still see a little bit of definition. He's not trying to go, pose down. He would have got a much different reaction if it would have just been casual instead of like, most muscular, right? And the same thing, like I noticed the same thing with Alvaro. Now Alvaro puts his physique up. You could even, if you want to look up Alvaro Pena on Insta, you don't have to do it, but if you look up Alvaro's Instagram site, it's alvarofit.com. If you look at his Instagram, he's always flexing. He has like 8-pack abs, man, and has like the fuck me lines, like the obliques and everything like that. And he knows he looks good, but he's also a bodybuilder, and that's what he does. He has to maintain. He'll look at himself in the mirror all the time to see what his progress is. His art. It's his art, but it's also his profession too. So I can kind of cut him a little bit of slack, but even for Alvaro, who looks basically a male model, basically a male, exotic dancer, whatever the fuck it is, that might appeal to like 45-year-old divorcees. But what appeals to Crystal Becks and the rest of these is when he's casual, he would just sit here in a t-shirt, in a Powerhouse Gym t-shirt or something like that. Well, while he's here on the show, he's not like flexing, he's not posing, he doesn't have his shirt off or anything, although he probably would have taken it off if I asked him to. But he's just here casual, and the chicks can't fucking take their eyes off of him. Whereas if he had been like pushing it out there and presenting himself and like going over the top, that's when women got to kind of roll their eyes and go, because he knows he's good looking. Like one of the chapters in my first book is called The Threat. And the threat is that it's based on one quote. And the quote is, there is nothing that is simultaneously more attractive yet more threatening to a woman than a man who understands his own value to women and is willing to use it and leverage it. And that's what I'm talking about. It's threatening. Threatening was the only word I could use at that time. But it's if a guy is overt about it and he says, I know I'm good looking, like that sounds like you're kind of like full of yourself, right? Whereas if you don't say anything and you just dress, just casually or whatever, if you're good looking, that chick's going to recognize that anyway. A good looking dude doesn't have to say, I'm good looking and chicks want to suck my dick. Like that conversation doesn't need to take place. So, what else did I get here? This is Nico. Hey, Nico. We were talking about Anthony Dirico. That's right. Earlier, he used to be my coach in MOA. Somehow he is even shorter than me. And Anthony cleans up. You can even look up his name. Anthony Dirico. Is that what his name is? Dirico. Yeah. And so he used to be an MOA student, and I think now he's an instructor or he's a coach of some sorts with MOA because he's that fucking good. And the dude is short. And I don't know, Nico's probably like 5'6", and I know that Anthony's shorter than he is. Thanks for that, Nico. Appreciate that. So I'm going to show you the rest of this tweet thread here because it's important for the rest of the conversation. I'm going to talk about social proof and pre-selection here in just a moment. However, oops, no, I don't need an image. I need to share the screen. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Stop that. And then let's go to screen share. There we go. All right. Once again, from the top. So here is Gyromite. My only issue with Rollo is that he's naive faith in game to attract women and thinks looks equal physique. I do not think that looks equal physique. However, I do think that game actually plays a very important part in attraction. It also, and again, can it play a part in arousal is really the question. And that's really what you're getting at. Like game you can definitely present the perception and the image of high value and status on Instagram. All you need is the perception of authenticity or the perception of value. It's when you get down to, it's when you start talking to that person and when you start having a conversation with that woman in real time, that's when you better fucking have game. So I love this. You admitted that women find 4.5% of men attractive. Well, I didn't admit anything. Did these men discover a unique look that appeals to all women? A unique look that appeals to all women? No, that's never going to happen. Or some nifty technique that they really worked hard on. For the guys in particular, yes, that works for them. No, they're just good looking. Okay. All of this PUA game stuff is a trick to make men productive. It doesn't actually help them score. We're never going to score. No, it just depends on the individual. This is why I always say, put myself back up. This is why I always say the red pill game, the practice of pick up PUA, whatever you want to call it, social circle game, pre-selection, social proof. Even the stuff that I discussed with Mystery, even Mystery would agree with this. It's like not one size does not fit all. When he's talking about gambits and he's talking about neg hits and when he's talking about this and that, there's certain things that one guy could say that, and they could be identical. They could be the exact same script that will work for one guy that will not work for another guy. And they could both be equally good looking. It just depends on the girl herself, what is the character that she's looking for at that time. And that's why I brought up Have a Look. Have a Look was a post that I put, it's in the first book, but it's also a post I put up a long time ago. And it was in response to this back when radio was a thing, this radio talk show of Adam Carolla. It was the Adam Carolla show. And Adam Carolla was talking about this. He said, women are like casting agents. They want a certain character. Right? They're looking for a tough brother from the streets. They're looking for an emo guy. They're looking for the guy with the tribal tattoos. They're looking for Lemmy from Motorhead. They're looking for 6'5", trust fund, blue eyes, finance, whatever. That's a character. People will ask me all the time, Rollo, how did you get laid in your rock star 20s? Right? And I'm like, I know what worked for me. I was playing a character. I was rail thin. I had hair down to I blonde hair down to my ass. I played in a band, and I knew what worked for me during the late 80s, early 90s to the mid 90s. I knew what worked for me. I could go out. I finally figured out the combination of things and the type of woman that I knew I could fuck. And I would go out, I would play a gig, or I'd go see another friend's band or something like that. When I would go out on a Friday or a Saturday night, I knew what I could do and what was going to be successful for me. And I knew what I liked, right? So it's like, okay, I would have to look for the perfect storm. Obviously, that would be great. But I figured out what worked for me. What works for me is not going to work for you. You have to decide. That's why, God damn it, I keep saying it's not one size fits all. Even when it comes to game, even when it comes to social circle game, even when it comes to cold approach, when it comes to just learning social skills to be a good conversationalist. How are you projecting yourself? What is the character that you're presenting when you go out there? And I don't care if you think it's fake. I don't care if you think, I don't want to do that because it's inauthentic or the girls are going to figure me out. No, it doesn't matter. You're already doing it. You're already projecting your personality just by going out and just by taking any action. Even if you are online just texting a girl, or you're on fucking Tinder or whatever, or she sees your pictures on Instagram, whatever, you're still projecting some kind of character. And so when I was talking about Have a Look, which was the essay I was talking about, when I was talking about the Adam Carolla talk, he was like saying women are like casting agents. They want a guy to play a certain character. I knew what character worked for me. That was Rockstar back in the late 80s, early 90s. I knew what fucking worked. And that was a character they want. I didn't have to pay for it. I didn't have to have a fancy house. I lived in a 1-bedroom studio apartment in North Hollywood. I had a white 1979 Toyota pickup that had a bad starter and no tailgate. I had an amp, I had my effects, and I had 2 guitars to my name. That was my liquid assets back then. I had a spool for a dining room table, them big ass spools that you like wrap cable around and stuff like that. I could eat Taco Bell off of that. I had a mini fridge. For the longest time, I had a bed with just a box springs, and it was a mattress, right? And women love to fuck on that fucking box spring. I finally did get a frame for it after a while, but I didn't have to have pillows from Bed Bath and Beyond. Okay, I didn't have to have drapes, that match the pillows. I didn't have to have the perfect because women just wanted that character. They just want to. Because sometimes I'd have to go to their place, but that's what they wanted at the time. I was a character that they wanted to fuck. Now, was I going to get with them for the long term? No, they knew that, and I knew that, and I didn't care. That was fine. I was experiencing life, and I was having a good time while I was doing it, and I was figuring out how fucking life works, right? Go out. Sometimes there was mistakes, but I regret very little from that time. Do you regret anything from your life, Rollo? No, I don't. Well, you just had meaningless sex. No, I meant to fuck every single one of these chicks. I love how it was not meaningful. Anybody who says it's not meaningless sex, those are guys who don't fuck because there's no rhyme or reason. It's not some cosmic, sexual energy from planet Pluto. The Venus is aligned with Pluto, and the barometric pressure is this, and the humidity was that, and the temperature was this, and get the fuck out of here. Are you fucking or are you not fucking? That's it. I had that conversation with Coral too, because I love Coral, don't get me wrong, but like when you want to insert astrological signs into why you're getting fucked and why you're not getting fucked, tune out. I want nuts and bolts. I want to know what you did behaviorally. What did you do? Where was your mind at? Where were you projecting yourself? Show me the fucking empirical data. That's what I'm interested in that. And I can repeat that because I know it's not going to be repeatable or replicable, but because I want to know what worked for you and what didn't work for you. And then you can take those and aggregate that and sort of figure out, you can do what's called creating a predictive framework. Is it a rote memorization? Is it a set of steps that you can take that's going to get laid every time? No, it's not. That's why they call it pickup artistry, not pickup science. It's PUA, not PUS. Okay. It is an art. It is adaptation and improvisation. It's a martial, like even Mystery says this too. It's like, it's kind of like a martial art. He calls it the Venusian arts, right? Because it's like, it's Venus. It's the arts of love, right? Whereas martial arts is the art of fighting, right? That's what martial arts is, right? So there's techniques and things that you learn. You basically are using the same kind of like mentality for martial arts that you're using for Venusian arts, right? And so what works? Be like water, my friend. learn like Bruce Lee, like take a little bit from jiu-jitsu, take a little bit from karate, take a little bit from taekwondo, take some from Kali. What works best for you? Put that together, and that's your game. That's your look. That's your character. Same thing like Adam Carolla was saying this. Now, the other part of that whole thing, and I will get to your super chats here. The other part of that whole talk that Adam Carolla was saying is like, if you don't have a look, if you're just guy, and you have like sensible Dockers and a button-down t-shirt or something like that, and you look like you work in IT, punished. You will get no pussy. You have to have a look. There has to be something. You could be rockabilly. It could be emo. It could be bodybuilder. It could be, I don't care what it is. You can even be like responsible. You could be Andrew Tate, right? You could be Tristan Tate. If you look at the difference. I hate to use them as examples, but if you look at the look and the projection of Andrew Tate versus Tristan Tate, they are very different characters. Like Andrew Tate still plays up to I was an MMA fighter, I was a kickboxer or whatever. Like that's his kind of like his character. There's a different character to Andrew Tate than there is to Tristan Tate. Tristan Tate is like fucking international man of mystery, right? He's like fucking James Bond. He wears the suits and he smokes his cigar and he has his martinis and stuff, shaken, not stirred, right? Whereas Andrew Tate is a different character. Now they might still, work well to brothers, right? Of course, they might work well together. They're complements to one another, but they are not the same character. Each one has a different look, If you have no look, you're fucked. You have to have a look. You can't just be guy. You can't just be sensible Dockers and some fucking, loafers and a polo shirt, right? You're done. You're dead in the fucking water. You have to have a look. That can be rail thin rock star with blonde hair down to your ass. That can be the rockabilly guy, the emo guy. That can be the roided out, Jersey Shore, the situation guy. You just have to have a look. If you don't, you will be punished. That's the problem. You want to know one of the biggest problems, I think, with quote unquote incels and Gen Z and everything is you want to know why guys are dropping out. And I know this because I see this every time I go to Babes in Toyland or I'm at some sort of event that's here in Vegas and stuff like that. I can tell you the guy that's going to get laid and the guy that's not going to get laid. I can show you the guy who's a fucking tourist at Omnia or at Hakkasan or at Zook. I can show you that guy, and I can show you the guy who's going to fuck tonight. Because I look at that guy and I go, that guy's projecting. That guy has a character. That guy has something he's projecting some sort of image for himself. Well, that's fake, Rollo. That's not authentic. What is authentic? Maybe it is. Maybe that is actually how the dude is. Maybe that is how you should be. Maybe you want to change up something for yourself. But guess what? You get to decide what your fucking personality is. You get to decide what your character is. You get to decide how you project yourself. That's fucking the beauty of game. That's the beauty of the red pill too, really. But understanding what you can and cannot do. And then, like I said, learning your own martial art, learning your own Venusian art, what works for you. That's why I don't do 12 rules for life or here's 7 hot tips on how to fuck a chick, right? And number 4 will surprise you. I don't do those things. I don't do prescriptions. This is exactly why I don't do prescriptions, because there is no prescription for each individual guy. My deficits, such as they are, my deficits are not going to be your deficits. My strengths are not going to be your strengths. I'm pretty good at conversation. I'm pretty good at game, but it's only because I have a certain gravitas from doing this show, from doing Access Vegas, from being, having a certain amount of e-fame. Like chicks don't even know who the fuck. Do you think chicks, the average girl, I go out here to the club right now tonight or on Sunday. If I went last night or Friday, do you think the average chick in the club is going to know who the fuck Rollo Tomassi is? No. But if I'm walking from valet to the club and I get like 4 guys that go, Rollo, hey man, you saved my life. Hey, let me sign your book, blah, blah, blah. Can I ask you something? Now that I got you here. No, I'm trying to get to the fucking club. But if I do that, every chick within earshot suddenly, who is this? And I'm using myself as an example. It could be anybody who has like a certain amount of, hell, even that fake Justin Bieber guy got away with it and got paid for it too. Yep. He got paid 10 grand for that shit. Holy fuck, man. Yeah. Like apparently, did you know this? That there's like these fake celebrities that they will go like to the extreme of getting like the same tattoos as like the guy who's Justin Bieber, the fake Justin Bieber has the same tats as Justin Bieber does. So what's authentic? Oh, what a fake. Yeah, fake enough to pull that shit off, right? There was the guy who was he looks like Messi, the guy who's the soccer player.
Yeah.
There's a fake, what's his name? Messi? Forget the guy's first name. Anyways, there's a fake Messi. And the dude like is getting sued or is getting like, they want to take him to jail because chicks fucked him because they thought it was Messi.
That's hilarious.
Yes. Yeah. Like that shit is fucking insane. But chicks will do it. Why? Because it's status, because it's perception. Is it for real? When you decide, hey, I'm going to want to get real with this chick, then you can cross that Rubicon. Until then, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you got to do, man. It's like, I'm just saying this. Well, what about personal development, Rollo? And what about vetting girls and da-da-da? I'm not even talking. We can talk about that in another show. And that is important. Don't get me wrong. But we're talking about getting your foot in the fucking door before you can even have a conversation. So here's what I'm really about. Chicks don't want to know they don't care what you're about. They want the perception. They want to figure out what you're about. I keep saying this, and if you've read my books, you probably already know what I'm going to say, but yes, thank you. Lie. Is it, I'm going to quote George Costanza. It's not a lie if you believe it. It's not a lie, Jerry, if you believe it, if she believes it. From that point on, you can go for it. Here's the thing. Okay, this is great, man. I love you. I love you, man. Not act like a man, be a man. Okay, what is that? Tell me what that is. Tell me how that fucking plays. Is be a man sensible dockers and fucking loafers and a polo shirt? I'm being a man. This is what a man. Men don't care what they wear. Get the fuck out of here. Great book. What is it? Is it Perception of Power? It's Tanner Guzzi's book. I think it's the Perception of Power. And I love it when God, I'm glad you brought this up. The perception. I believe it's the perception of power. It might be not the projection. It's a perception of power. Okay. Or the image of power, whatever it is. Essentially, Tanner Guzzi's book, which I highly recommend even to this day, it's an essay, or it's an exploration of why men actually should care about their image. Is it the image of power? That might have been it. But what he goes through is like the one thing, the answer to the question is, or the question to the answer is this, is men shouldn't care about what they look like. Men don't care. A real man doesn't care what he looks like. He just goes out, puts on some jeans and a t-shirt and goes out and works on an oil rig, right? No, you care. Even that guy cares about what he looks like. If he goes to a job interview, he wears a different set of clothes. Why? Perception of power. If a guy goes to a funeral, he wears black. He wears out of what? Out of respect. So he wears something different. A guy who goes to a wedding wears something different, wears something nice. When you go to work out at the gym, you wear a tank top, right? Well, because you've got that's just practical, right? But you're still projecting an image when you fucking do that. If you put on a tie and you chose that tie at the store, guess what? You care about the way you fucking look. If you go and you say, well, I'm a punk rocker, I don't care. You absolutely care about how you look. Docs and Hawks, man. Doc Martens and Mohawks, right? Dickies. You wear the Dickies workwear and stuff like that. Guess what? You're projecting what you do. Or like, I love this, man. When Yellowstone's still a thing, right? But when Yellowstone was like at its peak, Carhartt and the rest of these places, they were in fucking hog heaven because everybody wanted to project that manly, I work on a ranch.
Boot barn was
We're going to go to the train station later. You know? Yeah. There was, hell, dude, they sold Yellowstone chili.
Yeah.
No beans. Yellowstone chili, right? Perception. Like when you're a kid, I don't know, when you're a teenager, I don't know if teenagers still do this, but in the 80s, I remember when chicks would try to dress like Madonna, like girls, like they'd be 14, 15, 16 years old. And this was when Madonna was actually younger and had like a real career. They would dress like that kind of like, 80s kind of dress down kind of thing where she had a definite look. Guys who were rockers wanted to look like Bruce Dickinson or Ozzy or Motley Crue or whatever, right? They wanted to have that look. Or if you were like sort of like one of these preppy guys, you had a certain look that said you're a prep, right? Or Frankie Goes to Hollywood shirt, choose life. It was like some fucking neon shit. I'm dating myself, obviously, but in the 80s, it was very clear what your image and what you were projecting. Were they lying? No, they're just trying shit out. There's no such thing as lying when it comes to you're putting yourself out there. You get to decide what's authentic and what's not authentic. Nobody else gets to do that. Real men don't care. Like one of the things in Perception of Power, I think it's Image of Power, Perception of Power. One of the things Tanner Guzzi talks about was like in ancient Greece. Right. And when you had, or Rome, right. And when you had like centurions and you had like the regular line troops, they only just got like a cuirass, so they got like, like a breastplate and stuff like that. But the centurions, and if you were like a higher level in the ranking, they had this sculpted thing that looked like you had fucking pecs, man.
Plate.
And it was a chest plate, but it was a chest plate that made you look like you had pecs and an ab.
Yeah.
Why? Why would they do that? It's just as functional as the regular one that the regular line troops are wearing. Why does yours? Because you're the fucking centurion. You're fucking important. Why do you have the dress blues and you wear your medals? Because you're fucking important. You care about the way you look. Men should care about the way they look. They should care about the way they project themselves. And you know what? You do it anyways. Whether you acknowledge it or not is irrelevant. You still do it. You still dress a certain way. You project yourself. You play a character, whether you realize you're playing that character or not. Is that a lie? No, because it's not a lie if you believe it. Praetorian Guard. Fuck yeah. You can play Space Marines. How do you know that Space Marine is a lieutenant? How do you know that Space Marine is Brother Captain Tycho, Erasmus Tycho? You know who I'm talking about if you play Blood Angels. Dante. How do you know that guy is fucking Dante? Because he looks like a badass. He doesn't look like the guy. He doesn't look like a line trooper. He cares. People care about it. Hell, that's just the Blood Angels. You could go Dark Angels. You could go Ultramarines. God forbid you do Emperor's Children. I'm going to get geeky on you one way or another. I'm going to insert from 40K into today's. I'm going to wedge it in somehow. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Yes. You fucking care about how you look. Don't give me any bullshit. Why would you not want to be in control of that? You have direct control over that. You know what else you have direct control over? Going to the fucking gym. You know what else you have control over? Eating fucking food. People like, where abs are made in the kitchen. Yeah, they are. Yeah. But they're not made in the kitchen. They're revealed in the kitchen. That's how they are. You eat it, you wear it. That's basically my motto right now. Like, you want to know why I'm at 13.5%, 14% body fat right now? I eat it, I wear it. That's how it works. And I feel fat at 14% body fat. Right? I want to be able to, I would love to get down to the magic 12 at some point, maybe next year, right? I can't do it now because I got to have surgery, but maybe later. Right? People are like crying. I'm at 26% body. Oh yes, Imperial Fists. There you go. Thank you very much. You said fifth. Rolo, I got a serious question. I got a serious answer. What do you think about extend your lineage being burdened with a cleft nose defect? My dad was first and only among his siblings. He passed it on to me. Should I make babies or just forget about my goals? I don't know. What do you want to do? I think you probably already know the answer to that. So you want to stop your cleft nose? Why do you think that's a bad thing? Is that like when you have like an indent or something right here? Like a cleft cheek is like, or cleft chin is when you have like the divot right there. No, I think that's like that's like a split, like if you split your lip or something like that. I know that's a genetic thing, but I think a cleft nose is when you have like a little divot in your nose, right? Get a nose job. I'm totally fine with that. Let's find out what that is. Is that what it is? I'm burdened with a cleft nose defect. Cleft nose? Cleft lip, I think, is the one where it's like split, right? Yeah, cleft nose. Who fucking cares, dude? Do you think Ernest Borgnine gave a flying fuck about what his nose looked like? Who knows, man? That's the thing. That's just, again, is that like something that is genetic that's going to prevent you from having, like, is it so serious that it's going to prevent you from having kids? If it's that bad, you live in an era where you can have plastic surgery. I know maybe that's lying. No, it's not. People don't realize, like, I'm going to give you my opinion. This is not a red pill fact. This is Rollo Tomasi giving you his take on something. Okay, so Rollo speaks for the red pill. No, this is, okay, turn the red pill off for a moment. This is me saying this, okay? I'm 100% for any kind of cosmetic surgery you can possibly have. Please. With the exception of maybe like Brazilian butt lifts. I think those are way too overdone. Or they could be overdone. Like when I look at Asian Barbie, like Asian Barbie has like, her tits are like just out to here. And I'm just like, I know why Mike loves her so much. And then she turns around and her ass is as big as her tits. Like, I mean, like I'm like, oh, why? She had probably had a really nice shapely butt for a while too. And then she decided she wanted to do full Kardashian. The whole thing. So, okay. With the exception of like overdoing it on your Brazilian butt lift, who the fuck thought it? You know why they do that? Because Kim Kardashian. There's going to be a whole bunch of chicks who are going to be like, why did I put my butt out to here? Because then like the beauty standards will change. Maybe like it won't be Kim Kardashian anymore. It'll be like some chick with like a perfect little peach ass and like perfect little, thigh gap or something like that. And then they'll come up with surgery so you can get that. Right? This isn't like your cleft nose. I don't see that as all that big a deal, honestly. Like, get in shape. And if it really bugs you that much, you get to change that if you want. Go get a fucking nose job. Women do it all the time. Hell, guys do it all the time. I'm thinking about doing what is it? So I can get rid of these fucking eye bags, man. Thank you for the lighting, Kyle. It doesn't look so bad today. But like if I'm lit from a certain way, I look like I've got sunken eyes and stuff like that. And it's just from getting older. And there's a surgery. It's called blepharoplasty or something shit like that.
Okay.
And it'll do one of these kind of things. Like it'll remove those eye bags. You know what? I'll fucking do it. I don't fucking care. I will do it. That's cheating, Rollo. That's not cheating. Can I afford it? It's only cheating if I can't afford it.
We're looks maxing.
It looks max. Yeah, why? Well, that's looks maxing, is it not? Oh, you're cheating. You know what's cheating? These are cheating. I can't see the fucking screen, right? I can't read your fucking. Well, I can sort of read it. If I do like this, I can do it, right? Is this cheating? If I had contacts, what if I had like what if there's some sort of like, I know that they've done this. What if there's some sort of mRNA, gene editing thing that can like make my eyes perfect again? Somebody, I forget who gave this to me. Some guy on Instagram DM me and said that they would give me like free LASIK. Like I would get a free LASIK thing. Thank you for that that kind author, and I would take you up on it in a heartbeat. The problem is I have astigmatism. What that means is when I was younger, my very much younger, like 5 years old, 6 years old, one of my eyes was pulling the other one this way, right? It's kind of, sometimes you'll see, it's not so common anymore, but like one was pulling the other. So I had to go in, I had surgery on my eyes, and they snipped like the muscles so that they recalibrate and go back. And then what happened was the other eye started pulling it this way. And so they had to go in. I had 2 surgeries on my eyes when I was very young. And I've had to have glasses for a while. My eyes went to normal, was fine for most of my teenage years and through my 20s and stuff. I didn't really start wearing glasses until I was like my late 20s or 30s. And the reason why I wear glasses instead of contacts is because my eyes look like this, like one looks up and one kind of looks down, and I compensate for it naturally. Like it doesn't look like one's pulling one way or another. But when I'm looking at the monitor right now. If I look at the monitor right now, you can see like I look at my eyes and they're not like whack or anything because my eyes will naturally compensate for that difference. But if I look at one instead of the other, one like looks up and one looks down, that's why I can't have LASIK. Because if I do that, there's a chance that I would have double vision, and I ain't taking that chance. So fuck that. Until there's like some sort of like way to compensate for that, I'm not a candidate for LASIK, but thank you for that offer. I appreciate it. But if I got LASIK, would that be cheating?
Yeah.
Your eyes aren't really like that. Yeah, that's why I wear glasses. Yeah, but you if you were really you and you were authentic and you weren't lying, you wouldn't wear glasses. Like fuck, I wouldn't. I don't have any problem with women who have breast implants. I have no problem with women who do makeup. Women wear too much makeup. Well, that might be true too much, but I still want women to wear makeup. Please, ladies, never take me for one of those guys. Wear makeup. I like makeup. That's fucking great. I like revealing clothes. I like tiny bikinis. I love lingerie. I love tight jeans. I like just a good looking girl in a sundress, man. Fucking awesome. Thigh gap. Please continue to work out, to be a gym rat. That's awesome. Right? Please keep doing those things. But I have no problem. A girl wants to have like a facelift. A girl wants to have a boob job. A girl wants to, please don't do too much on your Brazilian butt lift. I still think that the lips thing is like, oh God, what the fuck?
The filler?
Like if your lips look like this, there's your clip. If your lips look like that, you burnt the bacon. You went over, but you done fucked up. The milk done spoiled. If your lips look like that, please, you went too far. A little bit Botox, okay, as long as it's like, up here or whatever, that's fine. Maybe a little bit on the sides or something like that. Okay, got it, no problem. Please continue to do those things. We live in a time and an era where you can do those things now. Great. Please keep doing them. I don't have any problem with that. And I don't think anybody else should have a problem with it either. I love it when people are like, Rollo, these girls they're fake. There's so much plastic on that fucking panel. You wouldn't know a real tit if you saw it. And you sure as shit wouldn't want to get with it because it'd be like pancake tits. Right? Like, you want real tits? Look at Coral Osborne. Coral does not have a boob job. She has natural boobies at 36 years old. Okay. Still looks good. I God bless him. I love a spinner. Okay. I love a girl with thigh gap who looks like I love a chick who looks like I could break her in half. Right? If she got a little bit of titties right there, beautiful. I'm in. I am not like Mike, although Mike's kind of making me a boob guy. Mike has a particular look for his girls, which I'm sure you already know what it is. And God bless him. I enjoy that just as much as he does. But if I had my druthers, it's going to end up being a chick who looks a little bit more like Coral than Asian Barbie. and she's sweet as can be. Don't get me wrong. But yeah. Rip A cups. Rollo, what's going on? Just doing a podcast here. I just got off work. What did you think about the Access Vegas? Well, if you rewind the tape, you'll find scrub back to the beginning of the show. Did they come with you to Peppermill afterwards? No, they did not. Any updates on the CBS premiere? No. I don't know, and it probably will not be until next year. If I am correct in my assumptions here, if they're still gathering B-roll, if they're still doing interviews right now, I would say it probably will. If I know anything about commercial television, it will not be out until next year. When I did Dr. Phil, we shot that show in November. It did not come out until February of the following year, even March, I think, because there was 2 shows. Even the second show didn't come out until May. I remember because I was on Fresh and Fit when it came out. One thing that never gets done fast is commercial TV, especially not CBS. So it's not going to jump out. And that's why I was just saying I don't think it's going to be relevant when they finally deliver the product. So hopefully it will. It went great. They did not go to Peppermill afterwards. They were not socializing or anything like that. They were just there to do their job. And they actually wanted to leave halfway through the show because they thought they'd got enough of after an hour, they were done. Right. And me and Mike we had lav mics on from them. So they had to sit here and wait for the whole show to get done. If they would have said, hey, can you take your lav mics off? I probably would have just done it so they could take off. But they stayed for the whole show. They were troopers. They were probably very tired because they had already done a interview with Mike before the show. And I don't know what else they were doing that day. In all honesty, they probably drove out from Los Angeles, which, God bless them. Thank you for doing that. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So anyways, let's go back to this right here. Gyromite. How do you get a name like Gyromite? So here's the thing is he says, you admitted that women find 4.5% of men attractive. No, I didn't admit anything. And this is actually the study that I usually quote from Steve Stewart Williams, which, by the way, was from a Quillette article that was quoting Dr. David Buss's work when he was doing the research for men behaving badly. Studies of online dating find that most men find most women at least somewhat attractive. In contrast, women view 80% of men as below average in attractiveness. If you ever wondered where those numbers come from, this is it. I'm giving you the data right here. Okay. Men liked more than 60% of female profiles, while women liked only 4.5% of male profiles. If you ever were wondering where the 80-20, 4.5% rule comes from, this is where it originated from. A lot of people don't know this. So whenever we say, oh, the 80% or 20% of men are fucking 80% of the women, or only women are only interested in the top 20% of men, like, no, shut up. Fuck off. 100% of women are interested in the top 4.5% of men. Remember when you look at the hypergamy scale and it's like, here's a 1 and it goes up, and then you get the 2 and it goes up, and the 3 goes up, and 4. That's the graphic representation of the data that not Rollo Tomasi did, but Dr. David Buss did. And he wasn't the only one that did that. There's other sources as well. Other research shows pretty much the same kind of comparison. Hell, even when I show you the video of that chick who says, oh, there's 3 kinds of guys. There's the guy that's going to get it, the guy that's never going to get it, and yada, yada, yada. Okay. That's where this data set comes from. Okay. That's where we say 4.5%. I'm not admitting anything. Rollo admitted this. No, I quoted a study that said that. So, I gotcha. You admitted it. What is this, a court of law? No, I'm just telling you, this is where that comes from. So what you do with that data, how you interpret that data is really up to you. And then he goes on here and says the data shows that 4.5% of men have a look that appeals to nearly all women, unlike the characters in the blog entry. No, it doesn't say that actually. It says, well, female profiles, while women liked only 4.5% of female profiles. That has nothing. It said nothing about like what those guys look like. It had said nothing about it. It probably has something to do with their looks, I'm going to say, but that's not what the data implied. It's just, you can interpret that however you want. Well, they must be good looking. Well, we can test for that for sure, but that's not what the data is saying. They might have all been one ethnicity. They might have all been one age. They might have all been one profession. They might have been all doctors and lawyers right now. Who knows? But we do know this, that only 4.5% of those profiles, and this is dating profiles and women, we always get criticized. I get criticized for this. David Buss doesn't, but Rollo Tomasi does get criticized for this. They'll say, well, those are dating profiles. Those are Tinder profiles, Hinge, Bumble. That's all that is, right? And those numbers are skewed because the dating apps skew those numbers, or there's only a certain percentage or a certain kind of guy or a certain kind of woman that actually likes those things. Well, that's one correlate in a long list of other correlates from other research that pretty much show the same thing. Like when I showed you guys, it was a while back, I could show it to you again if you want. When a chick says, there's only three, let me see if I can find that. I actually have that somewhere here. Let me stop sharing that. When a chick does one of these, where'd it go? Pretty much. There it is. 3 types of guys. Here. This
When it comes to men, us women place guys into 3 categories. The first category is the guy that we meet and we instantly just want. The sexual chemistry is high. We don't care what they do or how much they make, they are getting it.
That's the 4.5%.
Second type is the guy that he's okay, he's maybe not that good looking, but he's willing to spend money. He's going to pay our bills, he's going to buy us nice things, he's going to take us on all the dinner dates. But is he the one? No. Is sexual chemistry high? Or mid, probably.
That's the 20%. Okay, that's the 20% category right there.
And then there's a third guy. The third guy doesn't have a shot in hell. There is nothing that he can do. There is no amount of money that he can make that would make us want him. He is a no right off the bat. Am I lying or am I telling the truth?
There you go. That's the 80%. That's not Rollo Tomasi, Rob Henderson. That's not David Buss. That's a chick on TikTok. I think I was TikTok. That's a chick in her car making a video essentially confirming what David Buss was confirming back in 2016, 2017. I think that's where that's from. It might have been 2019. Who knows? Same. Basically, he used that for that data set for when he was talking about men behaving badly, which I think was his worst book he's ever published. But it is what it is. Rob Henderson also confirms this for us as well with other data sets from other research. So there you have it. Pre-selection is different from social proof. I'll get into that just really quickly here, but that's the 80, 20, 4.5% rule. Do with it. That's the rules. That's the game. That's the environment you find yourself in. How are you going to leverage that for your advantage? Well, that's all about looks. Yeah, it is. That's definitely a high impact factor in all of this. Looks is definitely. Is it the only thing? No. I have been, like I've told this story before, I have been in the presence of Justin Waller, where we have been at a Mexican restaurant, and a chick, a good-looking girl, literally came up, took what was a piece of paper, which was like this tag, like a here's your menu tag kind of thing. Wrote her, I think her name was Ashley. Wrote down her number and her hotel room, because we were out in Texas one time for one of the collective shows, right? Puts it down on the table. I have the picture. I took a picture of Justin showing me what had just happened. I could not believe this just happened right here. She walked by, put it on the table, and kept walking. And he was looking at it. He looked at it, and it's a phone. And I swear to God, it was not staged. Nothing just happened spontaneously, because Justin Waller is in the 4.5%. Does he look good? Is he tall? Does he present himself as the fine, Southern gentleman? Yes, he does. Does he have a lot of money? Yes, he does. Is he authentic in what he does? Yes, absolutely. He has no reason to quote unquote fake anything, right? He still presents himself as who he is. That's the character that he plays. That's the 4.5%. That's the guy who's getting it no matter what. 4.5%. So good looking, so high value, that women will take and write down on a little piece of, on that little fucking menu tab, put it down and keep walking in the hopes that I don't know if he followed up on this or not. I cannot confirm nor deny that. But that's the initiative that women will take for a guy that is like that. Are you in the 80 percentile? Are you in the 20th percentile? Or are you in the 4.5 percentile? Can you jump from the 80th percentile into the 20th percentile? Sure. I think that's probably easier to do. Can you go from the 20th percentile to the 4.5 percentile? Yes, you can. Can you be in the 20th percentile and ape the behaviors and look and game the system well enough so that you can get some good fucking pussy with the same kind of chicks who are going to get with that 4.5%? Remember, the 4.5 percenters, they are very rare. Absolutely very rare. Can you become that guy who's that 20 percentile who gets higher up into the 10th percentile or the 5th percentile? Percentage, whatever. Can you get up that? Yeah, you can. Can you move up the ladder? Yes, you can. Can you improve yourself? Can you improve your physique? Can you improve certain aspects of you? There's certain limitations you're going to have. I've got a cleft nose. I'm not tall enough, blah, blah, blah. Jake the Snake Cope doesn't give two flying fucks about being 5'6", 7". He doesn't give two flying fucks about that. He doesn't have a lot. Trust me on this. He does not have a lot of money. He's okay. He's a very talented drummer. Does not have the kind of money that fucking Justin Waller has, but that dude turns ass like a. He gets laid like tile, man. Can it be done? Yes, it fucking can. Can you change your fucking look? Yes. Can you change your character? Yes. Can you fucking change your personality? I should certainly hope you would. Because you will only get what you've gotten if you keep doing what you've done. Let me go here. The only thing Sadia Khan does is get ran through by rich guys in Dubai. Are we even sure about that? I'm not even sure that's even the truth. Rodrigo Reyes says, in the past, men used a slap to counter female manipulation. Schmack. Snap out of it. But the state monopoly on force ended this. Yes, it's called assault now. In fact, if I slapped Kyle, he could actually have me arrested for assault. So it's not necessarily whether you have tits or not. Women still wield social weapons. Women are wonderful. Actually, women are wonderful as a psychological and sociological phenomenon. It's not so much, I mean, I guess it would be so. It's not so much like the power of the state. How can men restore the balance? You can't. You're going to have to fucking work within that system, at least for the time being. The pendulum is not swinging back. There is no fucking pendulum. You cannot back into the future. You have to go forward. Take what you know from this and find something new. You know what you have to do? How can we do this? How can we return balance to the force, Rollo? Take action. This is the one thing that's really gonna freaking stuck in my craw recently. Is all these people want to talk about is, and follow me on Twitter, you know who I'm talking about. I'll talk about Richard Reeves, I'll talk about the rest of these people, but the thing that gets me is like, we can talk about raising awareness. You know what I do, Rollo? I raise awareness. I've been raising awareness since I started this shit back in 2004. Since I started moderating the fucking SoSwap forums. We've been raising awareness for a long time, over 20 years now, 22, 23 years now. In fact, that's why I feel like I wrote a book so that I could help people fucking, give them the tools so that they can change their lives and actually take action in their own lives and do something with that data, do something with that, equipping them with the knowledge. Okay. Awesome. And it worked. And I want to see what you're doing because you're actually fucking doing something. Oh, we need to get more male teachers into education. Yes, we do. What do you plan to do about it? Okay, great. You're right. What do you plan to do? Tell me, Richard Reeves, what are you going to do on the Commission for Boys and Men or whatever the fuck it is that you're president of? What's the plan? You talk to Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom says he's got some things coming up. What? What fucking things? What are you doing? I know what I'm doing. I know what Mike Sartain is doing. Mike is doing MOA, talking to guys and working with guys certainly every single month. What is Rollo Tomasi doing? I've got Reignite. I'm helping guys keep the freaking noose off their necks and the gun out of their mouths. I'm helping guys unfuck their lives. They tend to be the older guys. That's my demographic, right? You don't have to be that old. But I'm helping guys rebuild their lives, helping guys sort of come out of like a bad divorce, or maybe you never got divorced in the first place and you just simply never got to understand the nature of women, and maybe I can help you do that. Maybe I can put you into social situations. Maybe I can have you do exercises. Maybe I can help you do these things. I'm working with guys every fucking month, every week, really, if you're in my group, right? I'm working with guys all the time. If you're in my Patreon, I'm working with you. If you're in my school group, I'm working with you. If you're in Reignite, I'm working with you. I'm doing it face to face, each one tell one. I'm not sitting here going, we really need to get more guys in the teaching. How? Yes, you're right. You know what, Richard Reeves, you're fucking 100% right. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. Well, let's talk about, what is it? September. September is Suicide Prevention Month, and they're right. It is awesome. What are you going to do? What are you fucking? Did you know that? Was it 4.5%, 5%, or five times the amount of men end up ending their own lives than women do? Of course, you'll never hear that in the mainstream. Maybe that's something you could do, but you're never going to do anything about. But talk about it. What are you going to do? Nothing. So until you are doing something, until I see people on Twitter, like well-meaning, even traditional, like trad femmes, even tradcon women will say, hey, we really need to help our boys. Yeah. How are you going to do that? Oh, that Rollo Tomasi and those guys at MOA, they're just fleecing vulnerable, insecure men and filching, shekels out of their pockets. There's the shekels again, right? No, we're doing something. We're working with people. What are you doing? You're doing fuck all. This is what you're doing. But you're going to criticize me, and you're going to criticize Mike for actually or even I don't know if Rich Cooper has his own thing. Owen Cook has his own thing. Hell, even Mystery has his own thing. Now they work on different aspects of, male self-improvement. But why are you criticizing dudes who are actually out doing something when you just sit there and we need to help men? What are you going to do? Nothing. So anyways, all right. What time is it? Well, okay. We got to go. All right. Here we go. I think that's about, let me, just last, Jesus Christ. Last but not least, social proof and pre-selection. Social proof is something that is, I make a distinction between those two. And I think I kind of have to say this at the end here anyways, because it sort of sums up everything I've been talking about when it comes to looks and stuff like that. When I talk about attraction and I talk about arousal, those are two aspects of like female nature. Like if you're going to talk about like what a woman wants for the long term, what she wants for like the short term fucks or alpha fucks is arousal. Beta bucks is attraction. Well, and people tend to think of beta bucks in like sort of a negative light. No, blue pill, yes, negative light, but beta bucks is just a series of behaviors. Right? It's provisioning, protection, and parental investment. And in and of themselves, those are not bad things. If all you have are those things and there's no alpha fucks, then that becomes a bad thing. If all you have is alpha fucks and no like provisioning and no investment in that woman, I mean, that might be a good thing for a while for a guy, but then after a while, you're just, all you're doing is just fucking, you're just fucking random chicks. And maybe that's okay for a time. But even guys like Justin Waller or Mike or whatever, they still want a main chick, right? So there still is a want for monogamy. There's still a want for something that's a little more stable, right? So if all you have is alpha fucks, you're incomplete. If all you have is beta bucks, you are most definitely incomplete. Most guys just think that beta bucks is all there is to it, right? Now, so if you take those aspects and then you look at social proof and pre-selection, okay, social proof is universal. Social proof, like Kyle has social proof with me. I have social proof with Kyle, right? He knows what I do. He knows what my achievements are, respectability. He knows what I'm about. I know what he's about. Mike, I know what he's about. He has social proof because I'm going to go and build him up, or I'm going to say, hey, that's Mike Sartain, right? Or people are going to go, hey, that's Rollo Tomasi. If a guy comes up to you and like he wants me to sign his book, or he wants me to talk to me or something like that, that's social proof. Pre-selection is when the chick wants to fuck you or the chick wants to get with you, but she has to go check with her girls, right? That she has to be pre-approved. She has to talk to mom. She has to talk to sisters. She has to talk to the sisterhood. She has to talk to her best friend. She has to talk to her whoever, her girlfriends at work, whatever it is. There has to be some sort, like women can't trust their female intuition to make a decision as to whether or not they want to fuck a guy or they want to get with that guy. They have to go and find out if their girlfriends are in some way approving of this dude. Right? You want to know why the T app is a thing? Pre-selection. Oh, don't date him, or are we dating the same guy? .com. Yeah, that's pre-selection, really. Even in the negative sense, it's still pre-selection. So pre-selection is when women are trying to figure out what your quality is. A pre-selection, when we talk about shit tests, that is to determine what your quality is. Are you really the guy that you present yourself to be? That's why you get what I call active shit tests. There's active and passive shit tests. The active shit test is when you're first meeting a girl for the first time at a club or a bar or whatever, and she starts fucking with you, and you're like, she's just basically trying to see if you're really who you say you are. Passive shit tests are when you're already with a girl and that woman says, "Don't you think it's time to mow the lawn?" Or "My mom was right about you," right? Those kind of things. That's basically what passive shit tests are meant to answer one question. Is he the best that I can do? The active shit tests are, is he really the guy he's presenting himself to be? And so when we're talking about looks, when we're talking about pre-selection, we're only talking about that aspect. You can get to that once you're in a relationship, then the nature of shit tests change. But when you're talking about social proof, I make a distinction. And I don't know that Mike actually makes this distinction. Maybe he does. Social proof is society. You're pre-approved by everybody, by guys. And the social proof is not as valuable to women as pre-selection is. Because I could go have Kyle build me up with some bitch. Say, "Hey man, Rollo's the best guy in the fucking world. Do you know who he is?" Yeah, like what? You could definitely have, or even like when you have like a female wingman. "Oh man, he's such a great guy." Oh, there's pre-selection involved in that, but it's still part of social proof, right? So if a woman goes and she sees me on Dr. Phil. She sees me on Access Vegas. She sees me on this show. She sees that I have, 5 best-selling books, right? That's social proof. That's not, do I want to fuck this guy? That's, do people like this guy? Is his status really legit? Does he have his bona fides, right? Pre-selection is, would you fuck him? Hell yeah, I'd fuck him. If you're not going to fuck him, I'm going to fuck him. Like, that's pre-selection, okay? So there's 2 different aspects to that. And I bring this up because when you look at the balance between certain aspects, and this is something that I've factored into my 6th book, my Reignite 6th book, okay? There is synergies between all of these things. Pre-selection, social proof. What is that? That's frame. All of that amounts to frame. Burden of performance. What is burden of performance? Burden of performance is not just about you achieving in your entrepreneurial sense. Burden of performance is also, are you kicking ass in the gym? Are you learning social skills? Social skills, game, whatever you want to call it. Are you a good conversationalist? Are you likable? Can you actually carry on a conversation? Are you socially awkward? Are you not socially awkward? Like, that's still your burden of performance as a guy. It's not just about, I got to go to church on Sundays and I got to go to work here and I got a degree and I'm a funny guy. And it's like that laundry list of attraction cues. Like, I love my mom. I come from a good family. I'm educated. That's a burden of performance, yes. But there's also money, muscles, and game are part of your burden of performance. A lot of guys don't really factor that in. Your burden of performance, you have a burden, your performance burden. Getting your fat ass in the gym and getting a fucking squat rack. Are you benching 225? Did you know that? What was the percentage of guys that can only bench 225?
I'll find it again, but it's like
that's your burden of performance. If you're not benching 225, you have failed as a man. What is the percentage?
Fewer than 1%.
Fewer than 1% can slap on 4 plates.
Some sources placing at 0.075, or roughly 1 in 1,000 people.
Oh my God.
but it'd be closer to 0.4% in about 1.3 million.
I saw this other thing that said like after 30, like only 7% of the population will ever sprint again. Really? I mean, I could understand that since like 75% of the population is overweight, but that still leaves 25%. Why is it 7? Yeah, or maybe you just don't want to.
I mean, as I've just transferred from being like a blue collar worker and then going into working inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't really run or do anything other than that if you're not actually actively trying to go do it.
True.
It's like I never see anybody.
Well, that's why didn't they lower like the physical requirements to join the army or something shit like that? Yeah. It used to be you had to do 4 pull-ups. Who can't fucking do 4 pull-ups? I'm 57 and I can do like probably 10 pull-ups. What the fuck, man? But that's my burden of performance, right? So your physique is part of your burden of performance. Your look is part of your burden of performance. Your congruency is part of your burden of performance. Are you congruent? Who is the character? Is the physique? Is the look? Is the style? Is the character that you're projecting? Is that congruent? Because that's part of your burden of performance. When you're not congruent, that's when people go, ooh. That's when women go, he's kind of creepy. You know why girls get creeped out by a guy? Because there's the look doesn't match the projection. The look doesn't match the guy. The guy seems like he's acting it. When you talk about like, was it nice guy syndrome? These nice guys, they just try. They're sneaky fuckers, right? Yeah, they're trying to trick us into fucking them. That's why women hate that shit, because that's female intuition or the hypergamous filter. Women's existential fear is to fuck a guy who they thought was alpha, and then later find out, and maybe they're pregnant with him, find out that the guy's actually a beta. The guy's actually not high value. Tricked you, bitch. Ha ha. See you later. I'm out. Right. That's because that woman is now stuck with either abort the child, or in our evolutionary past, she was stuck with a kid. She was stuck with a bastard child. Right. And that could be a death sentence to a woman. That's why it's so serious. That's why grape is so violating to women, because it's a choice it's a sexual reproductive choice that they didn't make. That's why it's annoying. But see, the thing is, that's why it's also so imperative for women to figure out whether you're who you say you are. And if they get even a smell, even if a hint that you're not, that's when they get creeped. That's when the creep factor comes in, because you're incongruent with the look, with the style, with the personality that you're projecting. And then you're not actually like that. Creep. He's kind of creepy, but he's so good looking. Doesn't matter. Jeffrey Dahmer, good looking dude. Kind of creepy.
Oh yeah.
Kind of creepy. Just saying. Anyways, okay, let's get out of here. Let's see. No Access Vegas on Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, which will be the 17th of September, we will have Sterling Cooper here. If I can get him in earlier for some kind of show, I will do so. Let's see. If you haven't joined Reignite, I know I've been kind of building up Reignite throughout all this whole thing. If you want to actually do something, if you want to learn more in depth, if you want to be part of a great community, people keep asking me, Rollo, where do I find red pill guys that are like-minded guys? I live in the middle of nowhere and there's nothing like this here, or they're all cucks. All the guys in my church are cucks, Rollo. Yes, I know. But God, I love that. That chick was in the people's court, trying to sue the pastor because he ratted her out to her husband. It was like, bitch, you got caught. Come on. What the fuck is this? But if you are looking for a red pill community, and that's my community, please join Reignite. It's reignitealpha.com. It's the second link down below, as you'll see. The first link, of course, is my book, which is right behind me or over here. Pick up the book, please. There you go. No, I'm not selling the Funko Pop. I just got that as a gift one time. But anyways, yeah, please pick up the book. I love it when people like criticize me about shit that I never said. Like, did you read the book? No, but I think I'm pretty sure what you said. Like, okay, well, we can't have a fucking conversation. You want to have a conversation with me? You want to criticize me? Read that first. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a midweek. Should I do a midweek? I need to start doing more videos. I think people would probably appreciate it if I started doing more.
It's just adding more content.
It's just adding more content. You know, I tell you, I hit Nick up. Nick is my guy who does my clips. And I said, dude, we need to increase the volume a little bit. And when we did, we went up. We went up in the rankings and we went up in subs. And by the way, this show finally showed at least 112, 120 new subscribers. So something's changed. Okay. And you, maybe I'm off the hot seat. Maybe I'm out of the blacklist of diverting hate. But now we're finally seeing the subs are in the green. Bravo. Yes. So we're actually seeing new subscribers for the first time. And I don't know how I got off of that list. Even Aaron Clary has been saying that something broke, something broke at YouTube, and we slipped in under the wire. Speaking of which, go follow Aaron Clary, go follow Mike Sartain, go follow Myron Gaines, follow these guys, man, because you really want to help us out. You want to be part of this, then you want to do something. At the very least, start following us, pick up the book, educate yourself. Again, that other book I was talking about, I believe it was The Perception of Power, The Image of Power. It's by Tanner Guzzi. He's a really good writer, and that was probably one of his best works if you want to know more about that. With that said, I will be back on Sunday. Again, Kyle, thank you for producing, and I will see you guys next week. Same time, same channel. See you later. Bye-bye.
I need to feel you on top of me. It was my first time. All right. I was just a kid when we met and went to bed. It was my first time. What do you expect from me? I'm breaking up the rules now in the game. I've got some new tools. Please do the same. Time came by and went over like a matchbox stereo. My thoughts now let go. Bound to keep me up all night. Oh, those guys are fine. But maybe we can fuck again. And maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know. Maybe we can fuck again. And maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Yeah, I could have the best time of my life. Now we're fucking in the bathroom, tearing up everywhere while I got your hair. Why you screaming my name?
That's nasty. It is nasty, right? Isn't it nasty?
She was swinging in the bedroom, whole time stopping and sleeping with her hair like she's calling you Kelly. Ride me up and down like a pony, turning up my song, getting messy, working up and down on your body. Ride me up and down like a pony, turning up my song on your body. Baby, we'll get down to it all night.
Stop the cap.
Maybe we can fuck again, and maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know. If maybe we can fuck again, then maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again.
Gotcha, bitch.
Preceding podcast has been a production of The Rational Male. All rights reserved. 2025. Register trademark. And don't steal my stuff.
I feel like I just took a bath in battery acid.
like, man, bro, somebody don't get no hoes, man.
Goddamn right.
Good day, sir.
God wants you to have the baby.